Tonight we enter the third week of high school football, but for the Blount Leopards, it's actually their first game of the season. Coming in for this 6A Region 1 battle are the Citronelle Wildcats, trying to bounce back from a heartbreaking region loss to Robertsdale last week. Can the Leopards keep focused and earn the win, or will the Wildcats steal a victory and spoil Blount's home opener? We'll find out up next with the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey LeBounty. Down on the sidelines, we have Mike Herndon. Corey, Blount is finally going to get to play some football.
And there are some exciting Leopards down on the field, and the fans in the stand, as this is the first home game, as you mentioned in your introduction, for the Blount Leopards due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, Al, when you're talking about this matchup tonight, you're talking about a Blount team who's trying to reestablish themselves as a top 6A Region 1 competitor. Citronelle coming off a heartbreaking loss, as you said, against Robertsdale. So we should have a great game tonight.
We should. Blount is ranked number 3 in 6A and playing their first ball game of the season. They're the home team. So, Corey, let's get on to your checklist, man, and see what Blount needs to do to capture this win tonight.
Absolutely. Blount, the first thing they want to do is find the identity of this team. Coach Lev Holly, they've been getting after one another for the last month and a half. Now we're going to see whether this team is made to run, pass, or be balanced, and if they're ready to strike the opponent. They need to dominate the trenches tonight. That's going to be an interesting matchup that we'll have to keep our eye on. And they have to put a pause on the penalties. And that's going to be key for the Blount Leopards tonight. Citronelle, on the other hand, special team sparks. They have to make sure that they make extra points. And that was their downfall 1 week ago in their loss to Robertsdale. So they want to clean that kicking game up tonight. Establish a running game. Coach Barnett mentioned how important it is for his team to thrive off of the run game, and they have to limit Leopards' explosive plays. And what do I mean by that? Explosive plays are probably over 15 yards or more in Coach Barnett's mind.
And we know they have some explosive players for Blount. Cameron Graves, he'll be playing wide out. Also, Jarris Williams, running back, and LaMarcus Brown, he can throw it. Speaking of throwing it, let's throw it down to the field and check in with Mike Herndon.
Tell you what, Septembers in Alabama are usually hot and muggy, and for the first time this year, I'm not sweating yet on the sideline here. We've got a beautiful, almost crisp evening with a little bit of a breeze. We've got cloud cover above. We do have the chance of rain a little bit later this evening. Coming over from the panhandle of Florida, but hopefully we can get this game played before that gets here.
All right, Mike, we appreciate that. Corey, I don't think we may get the rain, but you know what? We definitely got the humidity, man.
No question. They say warm air rises. Well, it's definitely arisen to this press box where we are tonight, and it's going to be a great game. You have to look forward, again, to see the conditioning of this Blount Leopards team. That's going to be what's critical tonight, to see if the Leopards, with this being their first full four-quarter game, how they look, the difference between the first quarter of play and the fourth quarter of play.
Let's take a look at that Future One's forecast. As a matter of fact, right now as we get ready for kickoff, 80 degrees, 84% humidity. Corey, we were down on the field. It felt pretty good, but the humidity is rising just as we have risen atop the press box here at Look Good Field at Harris Terry Stadium. As look at the rest of the night, that the humidity is going to rise. It's going to be about 80 degrees. Well, you know what? There's your Future One's forecast. We're coming back with the kickoff up next. It's Citronelle versus Blount, the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
We welcome you back to Ludgood Field at Harris Terry Stadium, the home of the Blount Leopards. Dressing out tonight about 70 to 75 players and returning 7 on offense and 6 on defense. Citronelle, their opponent, they're going to dress out about 86 tonight, Corey, returning only 4 on offense and 4 on defense as we await for the Blount Leopards to run through the tunnel for the first time this season.
Well, it's a situation to where our viewers at home that are watching on one of our multi-streaming platforms, I know they wish they could be here due to the social distancing guidelines.
Right.
We welcome and thank you for watching us. And again, just sit back, relax, enjoy this next 2.5 hours as the Leopards come out. And they're wearing their new Future Ones uniforms, by the way, Al. And I'll tell you what, it's a situation that Lev Holly, you can tell by the way he's pacing on the sidelines, and he's able to utilize the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line tonight. He's going to find out what his team is made out of against another opponent very quickly.
You're right about that. Citronelle is going to be receiving the ball, and Blount has deferred, so they will receive in the second half. And you get a big shot right there of the big guy, Lee Hunter, the 5-star Auburn commitment, Corey, and we will be calling his name a lot tonight as he'll be rushing in from his defensive tackle position for the Blount Leopards.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Hunter's the young man who is an Auburn verbal commit. You just watch him in the trenches tonight. He's so aggressive. He strikes with his hands so well. He occupies the gaps and the spaces, and it's going to be – he's going to demand a double team tonight by the Citronelle Wildcats. But this Blount defense is not a one-man show. They have so many weapons that they can turn to defensively, whether it's Chris Casher III, Armani Diamond, Cam Grace, Harold Moore, Anthony Jones, just a plethora of weapons for defensive coordinator Lee Smith.
You're right about that. We'll be talking about those guys. They are quite talented, and Corey, they have tons of offers here for the Blount Leopards for those young men. So we'll be talking about that throughout the broadcast tonight. Back to receive for Citronelle, Jericho Benjamin, Tyler Miller, and B.J. Jones, and handling the kicking duties for the Leopards is Ladarius Williams, as we're almost about to put toe to leather, as you like to say, Mr. LeBounty.
That's exactly what this Blount Leopard fan base has been waiting for. You look on the sidelines, they're very excited, and they're just ready to hit somebody in a white jersey.
Waiting for the official signal from our officiating crew. Looks like they're trying to get the clock together. I believe it's there now, Corey. Good observation on your part. So now it's set at 12 minutes. I believe we are ready to get this ball game started. Of course, social distancing in place. Coach Holly told me about 2,000 tickets available for this game tonight as Jericho Benjamin takes that up for the Wildcats. Gets up to about the 35-yard line. Here's a look at the Citronelle offense. The Wildcats are led by junior quarterback Michael Harvey. He's a 40% passer with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions on the year. Keep your eyes on senior flanker Tyler Miller. He leads the team in rushing. He averages 4.2 yards a carry, has 2 touchdowns on the season. Also senior wideout Jericho Benjamin, we just called his name. He's an outside threat. Up front, the Wildcats offensive line is a big bunch. They average 262 pounds, and the team has a -4 turnover ratio. So first down and 10 for the Wildcats, ball at the 35-yard line. And Corey, it wouldn't be the first game here without a flag before we even started.
Absolutely. It's just like I mentioned in my checklist. You have to put a pause on those penalties, and you don't want to pick up those extra free yardage for the Wildcats, but that's a good job of knowing that this is Blount's first game. Nice hard count by the Wildcat. Going to get a free 5 out of this one.
It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So we didn't get to mention his name, but we'll say it right now. Sean Kelly, our white hat tonight, gets a mention before we even start, Corey. 1st and 5 here for the Wildcats as Harvey looks to the sideline. He's working with a new offensive coordinator this season. We'll talk about that later on. Tries to connect with his receiver, overthrows Benjamin. It'll be 2nd and 5. You're still in front of the sticks, Corey, so still opportunity to get the first down for Citronelle here.
Pressure by Kyrie Lewis-Jones, the linebacker at 6'3", 225 pounds. He's a senior, did a good job, and Blount's coming out of this base 3-4 defense, and Going to make Citronelle try to stay behind these sticks on 2nd down and 5.
Play clock approaching 10 seconds. Harvey's got a guy right there in the flat, does connect with him. Wildcats on the move, picking up the 1st down. Dorian Weaver picks up the 1st down, and the Citronelle Wildcats almost to the midfield stripe. They're going to place the ball at the 49-yard line.
Great job of Harvey making sure that he connected with the best playmaker on this Wildcat offense. Dorian Weaver, 6'3", 220-pound senior, makes a solid catch, and that's a good way to get off to a great start for the Wildcats, capitalizing off of that Blount penalty.
1st and 10 here for Citronelle. After this play, we'll try to get up the Blount defense and talk about these guys. They have stars on both sides of the ball, as you'll find out tonight. Hand off to Miller, and that goes nowhere. Just talked about that Blount defense. Let's try to get it up and tell you about them. That defense, they're led by 5-star Auburn commit Lee Hunter. He can get off the ball quick. He's a beast coming up the middle with the rush. Off the edge, bringing the heat will be senior defensive end Kyrie Lewis-Jones. And behind him in the secondary are 2 experienced defenders, LA Tech commit Armani Diamond and free safety Rashad Kaiser. The Leopards play out of a 4-3 base and average 256 pounds across that defensive front court, and I'm sure you're going to be calling a few of these guys' names tonight here at Harris-Terry Stadium.
Quinn Timmons did a good job of pressuring the quarterback, and that's a nice completion by the Wildcats, but it gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 10 yards to go, and defensive coordinator Lee Smith comes back. He's the assistant principal at Pillins Middle School and does a great job coming back here, and missed last year. Saw many of the games on the sidelines as a spectator, but now he's back on the sidelines leading this great defense of Blount.
3rd and 10 here for the Wildcats after that catch from Benjamin. Harvey looking over to the sideline. Play clock once again under 10 seconds. Talked to Coach Jason Barnett of Citronelle earlier this week, and he said he can make the clock his ally, keep that Leopards offense off the field. Harvey's got time. He's rolling out. But he is brought down by those Leopards. We told you that defense is quite stingy.
Good job of pursuit of the secondary by the Leopards. Darrell Davis, the 6', 190-pound sophomore, makes the play, and it's going to bring up 4th down and 11 yards to go for the Citronelle Wildcats. And now the critical thing for Citronelle is you're right at your own 48-yard line. You want to be able to flip this field and keep Blount from getting a huge return.
Rashard Kaiser and Armani Diamond setting up at about their own 18-yard line to receive this punt from the Wildcats. Looked like it was tipped to me, Corey. But it gets a nice roll there. So Citronelle's going to spot that at about the 6-yard line. So here comes the Blount offense. Let's take a look at them. Leopards led by dual threat senior quarterback LaMarcus Brown. Threw for more than 20 touchdowns last season, and he can run it as well. Now, when he's throwing, look for him to connect with senior wideouts Cam Graves or Melvin Williams. Coming out of the backfield, you have Jarris Williams, kid rushed for more than 1,400 yards last year. And, boy, does he have some moves. He'll get blocking from an offensive line led by senior right tackle Connor Howard. The Leopards are quite hefty up front, Mr. LeBounty, averaging 280 pounds. A lot of meat on that bone.
And they want to go ahead and get started immediately throwing or running the football right down Citronelle's throat here early in the football game. Establish that identity.
Hand off to Williams. And look at him move. Just talked about the moves that he possessed. That's a 1st down for the Blount Leopards on their first offensive play.
Jarris Williams, 5'11", 195-pound senior, has verbally committed to Troy University. And look, he just finds and bounces to the outside. And you're not going to be able to take this young man down with arm tackles. You're going to have to go ahead and wrap up. And it's the first down of the Leopards of the season, and a nice way to start their opening drive to begin this season.
Ball on their own 24-yard line. After this play, we'll take a look at that Citronelle defense and get it up for you. Williams moving to the right of senior quarterback LaMarcus Brown. Pass goes out to Cam Graves, and he can make some moves as well. Picks up about 5 or 6. Let's take a look at that Citronelle defense. They have a lot of experience with only one underclassman in the bunch. They play out of a 4-3, averaging 245 pounds across the front. 300-pounder Big Joe Bird is going to clog up the middle at defensive tackle, and rushing from linebacker spots are Dorian Weaver and Lathan Farmer. Farmer leads the team in tackles. In the secondary, sophomore free safety Josh Pugh is third on the team in tackles, and the Wildcats defense allows just under 14 points a ball game. LaMarcus Brown up the middle. He's going to get that first down, Corey. Picks up a couple more yards as he takes it to the midfield stripe, and the Leopards are moving quickly here in the first quarter.
And that's the aspect that LaMarcus Brown has in his game. I mean, we all remember Kadarius Toney, the electric quarterback here at Blount,
right,
who's now a senior at the University of Florida. But LaMarcus Brown definitely has wheels on him. He can go ahead and throw the ball efficiently as well as run the ball effectively. Again, 6'2", 190 pounds. If the pocket does break down, he can go ahead and create plays with his feet.
They mark it just shy of the 50-yard line, so it's Blount 1st and 10 from their own 49. Empty set as Brown tries to get it out to Grays, and he's going to short hop him. It'll be 2nd down for the Blount Leopards.
Looking for Cam Grays, 6'2", 210-pound senior, and just short hop that football. Again, the distance being given by the cornerback allowed him to go ahead and make that throw as he did earlier, and it'll continue to be there because over the top, Citronelle does not want to get beat. Jericho Benjamin out on that island all by himself.
Blount Leopards have a new offensive coordinator, Melvin Jones. Between him and Coach Holly, they'll be calling plays tonight. You talked about defensive coordinator Lee Smith coming back here. They've worked together, him and Coach Holly, since 2012, except for 2 years, Corey. Flag here coming in. Looks like the Leopards may be going backwards.
And you do expect that. You expect that out of Blount early.
That pushes the Leopards back 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and about 15 as the Leopards offense sets up 3 receivers to the top. Empty back set for LaMarcus Brown. As you've seen earlier, he has dangerous legs on him. So just because no one's back there to run it, he'll take off and run himself. Connects across the middle, gets that one complete to Jerry Brand. Past the midfield stripe, the Leopards are 3rd down and about 5, trying to move the sticks once again.
You look at the instant replay, Brown just takes his time, drops back, and finds Brand, a 6'1", 180-pound sophomore, goes up top and makes a nice catch on the play.
Kind of juggled it a bit, but the young man brought it in, Corey. So we'll call it 3rd and about 5 here for the Leopards, a long 5 from our vantage point atop the 50-yard line here at Harris-Terry Stadium. Al Wheaton, Corey LeBounty, Mike Herndon on the sidelines, China Powell giving us stats tonight. Brown on the keeper. He's got enough for the first down, was going north and south, but came to the near side to the number, still has enough as he crosses the 40-yard line.
B.J. Jones, the 6'3", 200-pound cornerback, has 1 interception on the season, makes the stop for the Wildcats, but not before Blount can pick up the first down. And we just mentioned moments ago, LaMarcus Brown can beat you with his feet when the play does break down, but good ball control so far starting this drive on their own 5-yard line to the Blount Leopards, and now they're already into the Wildcat territory.
About a 5-second differential between the play clock and the game clock, so Brown will have to snap this one before our first designated heat timeout. And Corey, I'm about ready for that timeout myself.
No question about it.
Hand off to Williams up the middle. He busted, still shaking off tacklers. Look at him go. And he's got room, some green grass. Can he make it to the end zone?
Wow.
And let's see what the call's going to be.
You got to give him
no
a touchdown.
Signal, and there is the signal. Touchdown for the Blount Leopards.
Wow.
A 38-yard run by Jairus Williams. And Corey, that was a highlight film run.
That is one of the best high school football runs I have seen. And I know my buddy Reggie Todd, who's at Troy University. I know you're going to like this one, Reginald Todd, because you look at Williams just plowing over defenders. No arm tackles there. He bounces off 2-3. You're trying to tackle him high. You can't. He switches over lanes, goes ahead and takes it to the end zone, scores the first 6. That's a 95-yard drive capped off by the Blount Leopards. But again, no arm tackles by Jairus Williams, who was a verbal commit to Troy, just bouncing off of defenders like a bowling ball, Al.
What a run by Jairus Williams. Looks like Trayvon Lewis lining up to kick the extra point. And it is no good. Blount on top, 6-0 early in the ball game. We'll be back. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
As Alabama's first and largest school system, Mobile County Public Schools prides itself
on the high quality of education we provide our students.
We have been successful over the years in raising our graduation rates
and have been recognized nationally for closing achievement gaps.
We believe that our primary focus is to educate all students to become productive citizens. This is our commitment to them and to you.
After a 95-yard, 7-play drive capped off by a 38-yard touchdown by Jarris Williams, the Leopards get on the board. Missed the extra point, but it's 6-0, Corey. Very impressive drive and an outstanding run from Jarris Williams.
That's one of the best runs I've seen, not to mention this season that we've seen. But you get a runner like that, that's establishing the Blount Leopard identity.
Let's take it down to Mike Herndon.
You've noticed that this is the first game for Blount this year, and we've talked about that tonight. You might believe that it's awful anxious for these kids to go through so much practice without having played a game. 3 weeks in a row, games canceled. But Coach Holly says this team has remained humble, has kept working, and for the first drive of the season tonight, you can certainly tell why.
Spot on, Mike Herndon. They came out, handled business, had one penalty, Corey, I believe, for a false start, but the rest of the way, they took it to the house and got the points that they needed. So up 6-0 right now as Ladarius Williams is getting ready to kick this ball off for the Leopards.
And that's got to be what the Leopards have to continue to work on throughout this game is the special teams play.
Ball taken by Tyler Miller as he gets up to about the 45-yard line. So great return for the Wildcats. Great field position here as they try to take their second possession and make something happen under the leadership of Coach Jason Barnett in his second season. Wildcats finished 7-4 last year, made it to the playoffs, but they lost in the first round to Greenville 22-12. And Corey, they are now a returner to Class 6A. They were in 5A last year, but they've been bumped up to with enrollment.
Reclassification's been the story of this season so far, Al, as a lot of teams are adjusting to their new regions.
First and 10 for Citronelle. Ball just shy of the 45-yard line. Clear skies so far here in 8 Mile. Just the humidity's bothering us and kind of a botched snap. I don't know if the play was botched, but guys look confused over there on the Citronelle offense.
Kyrie Lewis-Jones was not confused on the play again. He's very active. You cannot afford to have a low snap against this Blount Leopard defense because they're just too quick and attack the football. Now the Citronelle Wildcats are playing behind the chain. It's going to be second down and 16 yards to go, and that's going to be in the advantage of Lee Smith and this defense of the Leopards.
Low snap from Lance Rivers there, threw the timing off. Empty set for Citronelle. Looks like they're trying to air this one out. 3 receivers at the bottom and 2 at the top. And Harvey gets that one out, does get it complete to Sawyer Simonson. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage.
Richard Kaiser, the 185-pound senior from his strong safety position, comes up and makes a nice stop. third down and long to go. We call this money down in football because if you're the Blount defense, you want to make sure you get off the field in this situation. If you're the Citronelle Wildcats and Harvey, you don't want to throw an interception. Just play within your composure and do what you're capable of doing without hurting your team.
Harvey looking over to the sideline, getting the call from his new offensive coordinator, Kenny Gillum, joins the Wildcats here. And it looks as if Citronelle is going to burn a timeout and not get a penalty. Let's take a look at the impact players for tonight, Corey, since we have a break, 2 outstanding teams here. So let's get those up and let you talk about who we need to be looking out for the rest of the ball game.
Yeah, Dorian Weaver for the Citronelle Wildcats. He had a catch earlier, and he's just solid. I mean, he can play backup quarterback, receiver in the slot. He really does everything for the Wildcats offensively. He has 14 rushes for 61 yards so far. And Lee Hunter, the big defensive tackle, the Auburn verbal commit, along with the quarterback LaMarcus Brown, are definitely impact players for the Blount Leopards.
We talked about Citronelle's record last season. Blount finished at 8-3, lost in the first round of the playoffs, and a lot of people were shocked with that particular loss, 35-6, Corey. And that shocked a lot of people, just like Sarah Lane went out in the first round last year. But it was a shocker seeing Blount lose that game last year.
Yeah, it's a situation to where Lev Holly wanted to go ahead and make sure in the offseason that they cleaned up the things that when they went on the road, they turned the football over maybe 6 or 7 times in that playoff game. So valuing the pigskin is something that they want to make sure they carry around that bacon all night long and keep the bacon tight to their body and don't turn it over.
So after this timeout, it'll be third and about a long 6, or maybe we'll call it 7 yards here for Citronelle. Talked about offensive coordinator Kenny Gillum coming in to work with Citronelle. And one of those things that's going on is the young man, Michael Harvey, played up until the 5th game last year and then had a torn ACL. So he didn't finish out last year, had no spring, had no summer. So him and Coach Gillum are really trying to mesh and get this offense to mesh here. So let's see what's going to happen. 3rd and 7 for Citronelle. Harvey's back, trying to connect with Benjamin. It's the tip drill, and it appears that's going to be an interception. Armani Diamond, and it is an interception for the Blount Leopards, so our first turnover of the ball game.
Good job of tipping it. They went ahead and doubled Lee Hunter at the line of scrimmage, and if you're not going to catch it, go ahead and give your teammates an opportunity to do so. Armani Diamond, the young man who's committed verbally to Louisiana Tech, does a great job, 6'1", 170-pound senior. That's the way you want to go ahead and get in the plus-minus situation, establish your identity defensively to where you make teams trying to pick their poison.
Right.
I mean, it's a situation where you have a big guy on the trenches, on the defensive line, and then you have great corners also. So now you're going to have to decide what you want to do. Points off turnovers. Let's see if Blount can turn it into 6 more.
Ball at the 38-yard line of the Leopards. Brown has time. Offensive line giving him all day. He's going to scramble. He's got some room. Should be able to pick up the first down and a couple more as he runs out of bounds near the 40-yard line of Citronelle. Looks like they're going to mark it at about the 37. So good composure for the young man. Couldn't find anyone and just took off, Corey.
And what he does, he had an opportunity to go ahead and make a sandwich back there, Al. And in that situation, you can't allow him to have that much time because he can decide whether he wants a receiver to go ahead and change his route and go with the secondary or third route run, or he can go ahead and beat you with his feet. In that situation, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, we talked about that. The young man can move on his feet. He's got a great arm, but he's very sleek with his feet, and he can make things happen. He's done that twice tonight, picking up 2 first downs for the Blount Leopards. 2 backs in the backfield. Williams is going to run out, but they're going to hand it off to Deshaun Williams. And the big line is just going to push. It's a rugby. It's a scrum. Push, push, push. Let's see where they mark this at, Corey.
That's weight room material right there. Deshaun Williams, 5'10", 170-pound freshman. Go ahead and getting his legs churning. Good push by the offensive line. Good job by Williams not giving up, continuing to churn and move those feet as well. And he is going to have enough for another Blount Leopard first down.
So that Blount, big, hefty offensive line averaging 280 pounds. They put all their weight on Big Joe Bird. He's 300 himself, playing from his defensive tackle position, but not enough as the Leopards capitalize and take it to first down as we approach 3 minutes. Hand off to Williams once again. There's Joe Bird pulling him down, Corey, so that one is not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's what you have to do if you're this big Citronelle defense. You got to make sure that Lathan Farmer gets in there along with Joe Bird. Good job of tag teaming your runner, making sure he does not continue to get yards after contact. No gain on the play. Second down and 10 yards to go for Blount.
Thinking about time of possession here, instead of Citronelle holding it as long as I thought they were, Blount has held the ball a pretty good amount of time as we approach 2 minutes here in the first quarter. Brown's got all day, and he's got a man open in the end zone, and he is connecting for a touchdown to Melvin Williams, a 34-yard connection. Touchdown, Blount Leopards.
And again, you give LaMarcus Brown that much time, you'll see why he's listed as an impact player. Finds Melvin Williams in the back of the end zone, turns around, and the only thing he had to do was made sure he secured the catch, which is the hardest thing to do. He did do that, and hard work pays off. Melvin Williams, the 5'9", 160-pound senior, gets 6 more on the board. The point after is pending for the Leopards.
Beautiful pass. Love to see that replay if we can get it up once again as we go to break. Lewis on for the extra point. And he gets this one through, so Blount on top 13-0 here at Harris Terry Stadium. Leopards on top.
What's the matter, baby? You're not feeling good?
School-aged children are at a higher risk of getting and spreading germs and viruses. To help protect the spread, students are encouraged to stay home when sick. Parents, it's important for your child to remain at home at least 24 hours after they no longer have a fever of 100 degrees or higher without the use of medications. Please help us maintain a healthy learning environment.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
I'm Tracy Tran, and I'm in the Healthcare and Dental Academy at Theodore High School. In the Dental Academy, I'm working alongside dental professionals getting hands-on training from those already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job makes me want to work even harder because now I know what I want to be.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. To find out more, visit mcpss.com.
We are back live for the MCPSS High School football game of the week. Blount on top 13-0 over Citronelle. As Benjamin is going to let that one go out of bounds, so we'll get the penalty, Corey. We're going to try to get that replay up for you, but it was a 60-yard four-play drive capped off by a 34-yard touchdown pass from Brown to Melvin Williams. And, Corey, it was points off turnover. Here it is.
And that's exactly what we talk about. Look how much time LaMarcus has. He continues to take that 3 or 4 step drop. Nice tight spiral and a good adjustment on the football Melvin Williams makes. Comes away with 6 more points. The point after is good. So that's a step in the right direction as Blount missed their first point after attempt. This one's good. Now the Leopards are going to try to establish themselves again defensively. But the Wildcats can't afford to turn the football over right here and just need to sustain a drive on this particular possession.
Citronelle is going to take the yardage, so it'll be 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line. Trying to get something positive here. They've had 1 punt and 1 interception off of their 2 first quarter possessions. Harvey's got room up the middle. He goes, picks up about 5 yards. They'll spot him at the 40-yard line. There's big Lee Hunter getting up out the pile.
And I tell you what, once that 340 pounds sits on you for a little while, you go ahead and start feeling that. But the great job of Michael Harvey picking up positive yardage on 1st down, that's exactly what you need to stay ahead of the sticks in this possession.
Very smart for the young man. He's a junior. Take what they give you. Don't try to force it. Enough room in there to pick up some positive yards, as Corey like to say, stay in front of the stick. So 2nd and 5 here for Citronelle. A little quick out as they get that ball connecting with Zach Rivers. And I believe that's enough for the 1st down as Citronelle is going to move the chains.
He was right at the yard marker. I think he has enough for it. It is going to be enough. And that's exactly what you want. Back-to-back first downs. You take what the defense gives you. If they give you that nice 5 to 7 yard cushion, you go ahead and throw the quick route, and that's exactly what the quarterback Harvey did on that particular play.
Coach Barnett and offensive coordinator Kenny Gillum, they're opening it up right here on their third possession. Try to get this Citronelle offense going. That's going to be a hold as the young man was trying to stop Lee Hunter, but he could not, Corey. He could not. I believe Jonathan Wars was going to be spotted on that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be holding against Citronelle as you're trying to go ahead and stop big Lee Hunter at 6'4", 315 pounds.
He just pulled him down.
That's a lot of weight, and sometimes you don't want him to get him to your quarterback, and that's exactly what they were able to do.
At holding on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Sean Kelly leading the crew tonight along with Scott Seeley. Got to shout him out, the umpire. Also, Jason Sullivan, Mr. John B. Put some respect on it. Anthony Wilson, James Green, and Ricky Royal, the crew tonight. We worked along with these guys up at Theodore a couple weeks ago as well. So nice crew tonight led by Mr. Sean Kelly. So it's going to be first down, and of course, as I always like to say at least once during the broadcast, and a country mile here for the Citronelle Wildcats.
Yeah, it's going to be right at first and close to 27 yards to go.
He's got a man right there on the crossing pattern and does connect. Great pass right there, hauled in by Camden Odom.
You look on the blitz, Kyrie Lewis-Jones comes on the blitz, and it's almost intercepted, but a good job of watching the football all the way into his hands and getting the great yardage for the Wildcats. Second down and about 13 yards to go for Citronelle.
Good slant route there ran by Odom. The line to gain is the Blount 44-yard line, so it's second down for Citronelle. Blitz is on, but they do get the ball out to Benjamin, but he is wrapped up by Cam Graves, I believe, Corey. He plays a little defense as well.
Great open field tackle by Cam Graves. As Harvey does a good job of getting rid of the football very quickly, and that's exactly what you have to do. Now you're in a situation to where it looks like the quarter's going to come to an end before we have our next play, and Blount's already up 13-0 here at Harris-Terry Stadium.
I'll spell check myself, Corey. That was Kel Smith, the new Future One uniform. That 2 looked like a 7. So that's Kel Smith coming from his linebacker position who made the tackle. End of the first quarter, Blount's up 13 points on Citronelle. We'll come back with some second half action up next. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
It's no surprise that the University of South Alabama's College of Education can prepare you for an exciting career in public education. But it may surprise you that this same College of Education can prepare you for an exciting career in a broad variety of fields, like these. Contact us today and let us show you the world of career opportunities that are yours through USA's College of Education.
I'm Bailey Buck. I attend MGM High School. Here I'm pursuing my career in the dental industry. I'm currently enrolled in honors classes that will help prepare me for my future. My name is Bailey Buck. I am preparing for tomorrow today.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well-balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
We welcome you back to Ludgood Field at Harris-Terry Stadium, home of the Blount Leopards, on top 13 6-0 over Citronelle. 3rd and long for the Wildcats, going over the top. Oh, and that one almost brought in by Kel Smith for an interception. It'll take Citronelle to 4th down.
Yes, situation with Kel Smith, the 5'10", 175-pound junior, is having his name and number called a lot tonight defensively. That's one that he probably would like to have had back. But, again, Citronelle having to punt here at 4th down and 12 yards to go, giving their defense a little bit of a breather, picking up a couple of first downs on that drive. But we'll see if this explosive Blount offense, LaMarcus Brown's going to have an opportunity to go ahead and try to add some more points for these Leopards.
Pedro Rodriguez, he's a soccer player, as he almost rugby styles that one. A line drive as Rashard Kaiser runs away from it. So technically, Corey, he flipped the field. Ball's at about the 16-yard line. So great punt by Rodriguez.
And that's all you can ask to do is to go ahead and flip the field. Don't turn the football over. Make Blount go ahead and drive the length of the field trying to get on the scoreboard.
Thanks to Firehouse Subs once again for taking care of us. Jim and Susie Sherman at the Greenlight Road location. Corey, the eats are great tonight. We'll even tell you more about Firehouse later on. And also Future Ones. Future Ones, where you can get your team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all sports in between. Wear the future, wear it with Future One. And Corey, we're wearing it tonight, sporting the beautiful colors. I don't know what you call this design. My daughter loves it.
Yes.
And she encouraged us to wear this one tonight, the polo we have on, Corey.
Shout out to Twin tonight for making the great wardrobe choice.
And speaking of wardrobe, the Blount Leopards are featuring new look this year with their Future One uniforms. I like what I see, Mr. Labani. That pass completed out to Armani Diamond, as he's coming up the sideline near us here, taken down at about the 34-yard line. We'll mark it at the 31 is where the officials will put it. So nice catch by Diamond.
And what you see is the speed of Diamond as he's able to play wide receiver as well as cornerback. And if you're going to go ahead and get him the ball in the flat and he gets past you, you might as well go ahead and put the ticker tape up across the goal line, because he's going to cross it with excessive speed. And, you know, the sheriff officer down there in the end zone, they probably want to clock him doing a 4.340 because he has and possesses that type of speed for the Blount Leopards.
Citronelle coming with a blitz, trying to break it up. And Brown has no hesitation as he delivers a strike and connects with Melvin Williams. Putting the ball at the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and short for the Blount Leopards.
And again, the Blount Leopards just trying to keep this Citronelle Wildcat defense on the field as long as they can. But, you know, this Citronelle Wildcat defense does a great job. Defensive coordinator Jason Morgan has 4 returning starters. They're bending right now, trying not to break. And they do a good job right here trying to keep Blount behind the chains. It's going to be imperative that they get some type of pressure on Brown, though. Can't let him sit and dance around in the pocket.
2nd and short for the Leopards. Brown fakes it, and look at him move. Corey's juking. He's doing an electric slide all the way down the field to the sidelines to the high numbers. But no, he's still going. He's got green grass, and they're going to mark him out at about the 23-yard line. Big run by LaMarcus Brown.
I want you to look at the block down the field by Jerry Brand. They're going to mark him down right at the 22-yard line.
Yeah.
But he does a great job of his wide receivers. You do a good job of bringing the blitz on that situation, but you don't hold your containment. And because of it, looking down the field, Brown's looking to go to the sideline.
Boom.
There's that outstanding block by Brand. That's what you love to see on film. If you're recruiting these young men, you want to see them help each other down, each other's teammates trying to get to the end zone. But that's a huge gain by this Leopard defense. Offense.
Leopards about 2 yards short of the red zone. They've scored both times tonight outside of the red zone. 38-yard touchdown run by Jarris Williams and a 34-yard pass from Brown to Melvin Williams. So we do have a flag on the play here.
Delay a game.
So a delay a game against the Leopards.
Yeah, that's a situation to where you had a big play and you just got to go ahead and quickly get to the line of scrimmage. And you know the Citronelle defense had to be a little bit winded in that situation. So the quicker you can get in the play, the next time, the quicker you'll have this Citronelle Wildcat defense on their heels.
Empty set here for the Leopards, so the ball's going to be spotted at the 27-yard line of Citronelle. Melvin Williams moving in motion. Brown fakes it, keeps it, and he is brought down gets to about the 30-yard line. It'll be second down for the Leopards coming up.
Jonathan Turner, the big defensive end, 6'1", 230 pounds, had 4 solo tackles a week ago against Robbinsdale. Does a great job of making sure that Brown does not break containment, and it's going to be a loss on the play. As you look at the Leopards now playing behind the sticks, that's exactly where the Citronelle defense wants to have Blount, playing behind the sticks and just staying solid right now.
Hand off to Jarris Williams, and the Citronelle Wildcats defense, they stand him up, Corey. He's going to take a loss of about 2 yards, so it'll be 3rd and long for the Leopards. Looks like the offense kind of stalling right here.
David Sims does a great job along with Dorian Weaver, one of our impact players for the Wildcats. David Sims had 6 solo tackles a week ago, 1 tackle for a loss, and he's 6'1", 230 pounds. But right now, this Citronelle defense is doing a great job of continuing to push Blount backwards. Earlier in the game, they were allowing Blount to get ahead down and distance-wise. Now 3rd down and close to 15 yards to go. You have to make sure you keep everything in front of you. Don't let anything get behind you. A timeout's going to be called by the Blount Leopards.
Coach Holly calls timeout. Jerry Brand kind of limped to the sideline there, and I think Coach Holly wanted him in on that particular play, but he calls timeout to discuss things. Got a score update from a buddy, Richard Burton, Crichton Optimist Club at the end of 1. St. Paul's on top of UMS Wright 10-7. Corey, the Battle of O'Shell Road taking place tonight. Let's check in with Mike Herndon. He's got an update for us. What's going on, Mike?
We talked about Citronelle's new offensive coordinator, and with the restrictions from COVID-19 over the summer, they really didn't have a whole lot of time to install this new system that Kenny Gilliam brought with them. They moved from a power running game to more of an RPO-style offense where the quarterback has to do a lot of read and react. But tonight, with this offensive line having trouble with Lee Hunter and that big Blount defensive front, already down 2 scores, they're starting to just rely on throwing the football. So we'll see if they try to get back to a little bit more of their base offense or they keep airing it out.
Yeah, you're right about that, Mike. It's something we talked on earlier. Young man didn't have a spring and just trying to get himself together. Corey, we had the Citronelle MGM game last year, and everything seemed to be going fine. We get to the ball game that night, and Coach Barnett said, yeah, man, my quarterback went down with a torn ACL. So this is our first time seeing the quarterback for Citronelle tonight, Michael Harvey.
Yeah, you know he has the ability to be an impact player because that hurt them tremendously one year ago. But he's trying to stay healthy. And in this situation, you're looking at this defense. This defense is going to go ahead. It looks like they're going to rush 3 on this particular play, being long down the distance for Blount. This is money down. This is where the defense of Citronelle has to allow and get off of the field, make Blount punt this football, or continue to go for it in a long 4th down situation.
So it looks as if Brand was able to get back on the field for the Leopards, lined up in the slot. Brown's looking for a receiver. He's got time, and he does find Melvin Williams sitting there empty in the flat, 1st down, and Williams takes it to the end zone. That's the touchdown for the Blount Leopards, a 28-yard pitch and catch from LaMarcus Brown to Melvin Williams.
Melvin Williams, his 2nd touchdown of the game, scored on 3rd down and 14 yards to go. He just absolutely undresses B.J. Jones. As you look at Brown, goes ahead and goes down to his 2nd and 3rd read, makes a good check down, and watch this move right here, folks. Whoop, whoop! You got him going in the wrong direction. B.J. Jones could not come away with the tackle, and just like that, now Blount has an opportunity to make this score 20-0.
Lewis on for the PAT. Have a stoppage in play here. Don't see any flags, Corey. Maybe it's something going on with the clock. A few of the officials are trying to get the play clock started. I believe we're good to go now. There's a shot of LaMarcus Brown right there, senior quarterback for the Blount Leopards. It's thrown for 2 touchdowns tonight already. And now, Corey, the clock is going haywire. The game clock says 83 minutes, so you know that's not good.
Yeah, it's a situation to where this is the first game for the Blount clock as well, as it's been sitting idle for a while. And, you know, you're looking at probably, I look down at the game clock. I'm not quite sure how much time was left when he did make that score.
10 and some seconds left. Let's see if China Power had it written down for us.
But
I know it was about 10 minutes, Corey.
In that situation, Al, Now, if this point after is good, you're going to be looking at Blount leading 20-0. But what an outstanding move offensively that was made by Melvin Williams.
Now we do have a flag on the play here.
Prior to the snap, got encroachment on the defense.
So that'll give Williams a bit more closer range to get in this extra point for the Leopards.
And it is corrected now, 8:38 remaining.
So I was right, it was under 10, but I was off a bit.
That's all right.
No wonder it said 83 minutes on the board.
And that's exactly what happened. Sometimes you get a little happy with your fingers there, but nonetheless, Blount has an opportunity here to tack on this point after. And this is what you want to see them improve on, special teams making the point after.
And they're going to do the fake as Diamond was the holder, and Citronelle snuffed that one out. So extra point is no good. The try is no good. So the score remains 19-0. Blount on top. Let's take a look here, Corey, at the replay of that botched extra point there with Diamond just scrambling for his life, basically.
High snap, and in that situation, he does a good job. Shows his great hands by not letting the ball squirt away. We saw him do that in warm-ups also, but now Blount leads 19-0 with 8:38 remaining here in the second quarter.
Well, between this, let's put up the coaches' comparison between these two young men. Jason Barnett, he's in his third year over at Citronelle, 14-10 overall. He possesses a .583 winning percentage, 0-2 in the playoffs. Says he loves American history, and right here from the area, graduate of Escambia County up in Atmore, and a graduate of Auburn. If he wasn't coaching, he'd be working in sales. And there's Lev Holly, quite an impressive record for his sixth year, 41-19, a .683 winning percentage. Loves to play golf. Matter of fact, Corey, when we talked to him Sunday, he had just gotten off the golf course over at Spring Hill College. He said that's a kind of get away from the game and get his mind right there, hitting the golf ball. So I ain't mad at him.
And it's a situation to where during this pandemic, if you're able to hit the golf ball, go right ahead. And Blount's had to wait 4 weeks before they're having an opportunity to play. So go ahead and take out your frustration on the golf ball.
Well, that's something I do when I get an opportunity, as Benjamin brings this one up to the 36-yard line. So good return for Jericho Benjamin. And we'll get another look here at the Citronelle Wildcats offense. That's the last possession, Corey. They had things kind of going, and then all of a sudden the end of the quarter and flipping it over, and it just did not work out for them, and turned the ball over, and Blount goes down and scores again. So hopefully the Wildcats can get things together after talking with offensive coordinator Kenny Gillum with that last Blount possession for a touchdown.
And you're exactly right. Killing this clock is exactly what the Wildcats need to do, bleeding every single second of the play clock off, leading Blount, that is, 19-0, leading over the Wildcats. You want to make sure that you execute offensively. Try not to have any incompletions. Keep everything in bounds unless it's to the sidelines in your favor.
Little quick toss out to the receiver, and that ball is fumbled. Let's see who jumps on it. The Leopards saying they have it. Officials are marking it. Dorian Weaver caught it, but he was hit and dropped the ball, so I believe Citronelle is going to regain possession. It'll be second down and about 8 yards.
Remember, here at the home of the Leopards, we do practice social.
Halftime, we'll be talking with Director of Communications for the Mobile County Public School System, Renee Phillips. She's going to stop by. Some things coming up here soon for the school system. It's been in the news lately, and we'll get her to talk about that as she stops by here at Harris Terry Stadium. And Corey, we have a breeze stopping by, and I'm quite appreciative of that breeze here atop the press box.
We definitely love that. Sideline warning called against the Blount Leopards. And here are some score updates for you. In the second quarter, Baker leads Alma Bryant 14-6. Theodore and Daphne are scoreless, and Murphy leads MGM 12-7.
Got another update from Mr. Burton, 14-10 now. St. Paul's on top of UMS Wright, and a flag's going to come in after that sideline warning, but this one will probably be a false start against Citronelle as one of their guys in the slot. Got a little extra excited there. Sean Kelly already has his mic on the court.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. It's 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So that pushed the Wildcats back 5 yards. So we'll call it 2nd and 14 here.
It goes up to 2nd and 14.
And the PA announcer, Levi Sims, the celebrity host with the most, sitting in for Santee Gamble, calls it just like I did, Corey. 2nd and 14 for the Wildcats.
That old dirty rag, we're trying to keep that off the field tonight.
Yeah. Harvey's rolling out. Tries to connect to Tyler Miller and cannot. That pass incomplete. Takes the Wildcats to 3rd down. I'm sorry, not trying to get that to Miller.
Darren Williams does a good job in defense.
Jason Weaver was the receiver he was trying to connect with there.
And Williams, he's 5'7", 150-pound junior, and this brings up 3rd down and long for the Wildcats. Exactly what the Leopards are dialing up down and distance-wise to go ahead and bring the house and make sure or try to throw an errant throw by quarterback Michael Harvey. But if you're Harvey, you want to make sure you don't turn this football over. Don't throw the ball to the purple jerseys. Make sure you give your punter an opportunity.
Little screen they had set up, got that one to Miller. He's got some room. If he could stay north and south, possibly could have picked it up, Corey, but he is short by about a yard or two from reaching that 1st down marker.
And here's the situation here. If you're Coach Barnett trailing 19-0, you go ahead and decide to go ahead and punt this football away or
I think they're
try
going
to
for
catch
it,
them here napping, and maybe a timeout called by Blount if they don't have the correct personnel on the field. But the longer you wait, the more opportunity you give Blount to adjust defensively.
Double stack here at the bottom of the field near us. Play clock has not started yet. Harvey trying to get him to jump, Corey. Now, I don't know if the play clock is malfunctioning. And there's the timeout from Coach Jason Barnett. He didn't want to incur a delay of game. So at 6:38, maybe it's a smart move, one of those moves I called last week with Coach Rico Jackson and Murphy. Take the timeout in 38 seconds, you're going to get a heat timeout anyway.
Yeah, it's a good timeout as far as trying to get organized and making sure you make this decision here. 4th down and 2 yards to go for the Wildcats. They're in their own territory right here, Al.
Big play coming up here for Citronelle. If you're having technical difficulties with your online learning, just follow these steps. Let your teacher know and also call your school. If you still have issues, call 221-7777 Monday through Friday between 3 and 8, and they will try to help you out if you're having those technical difficulties. So jot that number down right there. Corey, I had some technical difficulties with my daughter's Chromebook yesterday, but we hit as some of the IT guys have told me over the years, did you reboot it? Corey, we rebooted it, and everything worked out fine.
Yeah, it's a situation to where the resources that have been made available by the Mobile County Public School System has been superb, and hats off to the great job that the technology department has done making sure during this pandemic that all the students get serviced.
So my daughter learned a little lesson right there. I do appreciate her coming to get me. It ain't working, Daddy. Harvey's going to keep it. And I believe he is going to have enough with that last little surge from atop the press box. We think he has the 1st down. Let's see where they mark it at.
He's going to get it, and he earned it the hard way in that situation.
Sean Kelly signals right there. So 1st down for the Citronelle Wildcats. Good play for them right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation to where with 6:29 remaining here in the 2nd quarter, you keep the clock running. You get a fresh set of downs. You keep this Blount defense on the field. You allow Citronelle's defense to rest over there on the sidelines. But I would like to see Dorian Weaver get the football in some shape, form, or fashion. Him or Jericho Benjamin is exactly who needs this football. Those are your playmakers for the Wildcats. Get them in open space, quick bubble screens, because, again, the Blount defenders are playing probably 5 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Blount Western 3 right here. They hand it off to Miller. He's got some room, picks up about 4 or 5. They'll mark him right at the midfield stripe, I believe, the 50-yard line. Just short of it. We'll call it the 49.5, so it'll be 2nd and about 5.5 yards for Citronelle coming up.
A very manageable down and distance situation is.
There's our heat timeout, Corey, from Sean Kelly.
Blount has to be very careful on the sidelines. On the initial out of bounds sidelines, there's a 2nd line, and the coaches have to remain behind that 2nd line, or they'll get called for a penalty, which will cost them 5 yards.
We'll be back with more action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Hello, I'm Helena Tyler. I would like to invite you to join me for Inside Education. Come with us as we take a look at what's happening around Mobile County Public Schools, as well as what's happening in your child's classroom. That's Inside Education, right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
When it comes to high school sports, scores, players, and the latest on all sports within Mobile County Public Schools, you can get informed on MCPSS Athletics with Brad Lowell, only on the MCPSS TV network. Back to the action on the field. Second down for Citronelle. Now the ball has been put right there at the 50-yard line, so 2nd and 5. Hand off to Miller, up the middle he goes. Great run for Tyler Miller, taking it to the Blount 35-yard line, Corey.
31 rushes for 131 yards coming into this game, and he just added to that total. Does a great job of feeling his way as soon as he gets past the line of scrimmage. Nice cutback, great vision right there by Miller, gaining the first down for the Citronelle Wildcats. Looks like they're going to go tempo now as they check with me on the sidelines with offensive coordinator Kenny Gillum in his first year at Citronelle.
Miller stopped. Going to take a loss on that play right there, which pushes Citronelle the second down. It'll be about 12 yards.
And Lee Hunter on the stop, and you'll be hearing his name called a lot, not just tonight and for the rest of the night, but Lord willing for his college football career as well, as this young man continues to get stronger. And second down and close to 12 yards to go now for the Citronelle Wildcats, but they're being smart as they're continuing. The play clock is being kept on the field by the officials, and they're continuing to let it wind down all the way down to close to 10 seconds before they snap the football.
Empty set here for the Wildcats. And he tries to get that one out to Miller. Short hops him. It'll take Citronelle to third down.
Pressure by Kyrie Lewis-Jones, and been calling his name a lot tonight. He's been very active, the 6'3", 225-pound senior, getting those huge paws up, doing a great job of going vertical, trying to tip it, as Blount already has one interception tonight on the tip football. Third down and 12 yards to go. The only bad thing about that is it does stop the clock for the Wildcats.
It does. Jericho Benjamin in motion here for Citronelle. He's lined up in the slot at the bottom of your screen as the Wildcats looking over to the sideline for the call. And the flag comes in, so I believe they may have used too much time. Delay of game there as Sean Kelly signals score.
That's something you haven't seen a lot of, though, on Citronelle.
Right.
Is a delay of game in that situation is.
I believe we may have a timeout. Well,
no, I saw him signal
the
delay of game, so we're definitely going to have that delay of game, and it's going to bring up third down and now 17 yards to go for Citronelle.
Big third and long here, right here for the Wildcats. Definitely need to convert this because this Leopards offense has been explosive tonight. Harvey's got time, and he's sacked by Lee Hunter. And that's going to be fourth down coming up for the Wildcats.
Big Lee Hunter gets his first sack of the season. He's going hunting, and he found him a Wildcat, as, again, that clock has to go off in Harvey's mind. As soon as you have 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, you've got to throw it or step up and get rid of it quicker, because Lee Hunter, he's going to go ahead and punish the offensive line, and now it's going to bring up fourth down and close to 22 yards to go. Citronelle's going to have to punt this football away, and I think Blount has at least one timeout remaining here in the first half of action.
And they don't really send anyone back for it, but there's one Blount player back there. Great punt by Rodriguez. Corey and Westry was back there, but Corey, he just stayed away from that ball. Rodriguez, kind of a line drive punter there.
I mean, it was a rugby-style punt, but it did do what it needed to do, go end over end. It's going to set up Blount having to go close to 94 yards to put 6 on the board. Now, the good thing is, if you're the Blount Leopards, you've just gone 95 yards earlier in the first quarter.
First possession with 95 yards. So with 3:34 remaining, we'll see what the Leopards come out here and do. And you notice number 7, Lee Hunter, coming in on offense right now, Corey.
And that's to protect your quarterback in that situation. And Lee Hunter will check in for this Blount offense at the left tackle. That means probably LaMarcus Brown will roll to his left as Blount has trouble with personnel getting on the field exactly where they need it. But, you know, if you're Blount, go ahead and take your shot on first down. Go ahead and stretch the field. Just don't get caught holding in the backfield as we see officials signaling
flag on the far side. Now, Hunter's lined up in the backfield, actually. It looks like a sideline warning against Citronelle. Sean Kelly kind of doing that.
Get back.
Get back. In this situation, not get back coaches, get back everybody.
Well, Jarris Williams, we saw him score the first touchdown. We know he has the explosive ability to bust a big one if he bounces to the outside, because we saw him bounce off 4 Citronelle Wildcat defenders for the first score of the game. But you look at Lee Hunter as the up back.
Wow.
Protecting his quarterback.
Jarris Williams on the carry. Hunter doing blocking for him, as that Blount offensive line pushes up maybe about a 5, possibly 6-yard gain for Jarris Williams.
Blount offense averaged 28.5 points 1 year ago, and this offense does have 7 returners, a little under close to 3 minutes remaining here. Blount in no hurry, but what it does do, it gives you an opportunity to work on your 3-minute offense instead of your 2-minute offense, and just go ahead and pick them apart using the sidelines.
They move Hunter here to the near side of the formation. Williams cuts back. I believe he should have enough for the first down from our vantage point. If not, he's going to be close, maybe about 1.5 yards short, Corey.
And that's exactly what you want to see if
just
you're
enough.
Citronelle.
Just enough. So chains are going to move here. First down for the Blount Leopards.
And the clock also stops. Carson Shira, the 5'10", 220-pound junior, has 3 solo tackles on the season, does a good job of making the stop for the Citronelle defense. And as I mentioned, this Citronelle defense does have 4 returners for defensive coordinator Jason Morgan, but now that you have a little bit more space, you can go ahead and try to throw over the top and go with the deep ball.
Empty set here. Pass complete to Armani Diamond. They pull Lee Hunter off the offense there. They've gotten out of the hole, and Diamond's going to be close to a first down. Ball's going to be spotted at the 28-yard line, but no, correct once again. That's a first down, Corey.
And you really have to watch the seam in this situation, because the seam route is exactly where they can go. We've already seen Melvin Williams have 2 touchdowns tonight, and if you go ahead and you overload this formation, it's exactly what they're going to do here. The Leopards have an opportunity to beat them down the field, the Wildcats that is deep.
And yes, that was Tyler Miller in on that tackle. He plays both ways for the Wildcats. LaMarcus Brown gets it out. Connects with Cam Graves. A little quick out there, but great defense by Citronelle, wrapping him up and tackling him.
And that's exactly what you want if you're Citronelle's defense. B.J. Jones making the redemption tackle, open field. He was over there by himself on that island, and he does a good job of breaking down the tackle. Now it looks like it's going to be 2nd down and 8 yards to go for the Leopards.
2 yards on the catch right there for Cam Graves. Trips at the bottom of the formation here for the Leopards. Brown on the move. Just runs out of bounds at the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be no gain. 3rd and about 8 here coming up for Blount.
Jonathan Turner does a good job of with the pressure, and that's what messes up the timing. If LaMarcus Brown does not have a chance to set his feet like he did on the other couple of touchdown throws he had here in the first half, now you're looking at 3rd down and 8 with 1:22 remaining, and the Leopards leading 19-0 over the Citronelle Wildcats.
Does stop the clock there for Citronelle. So third down, can the defense get something going? We have a flag here on the near side.
Wow.
Prior to the snap.
So a false
Legal
start against the
procedure.
Leopards.
On the offense, it's a 5-yard penalty. Still down.
Didn't mean to interrupt Sean Kelly, but one of your buddies just flew through us, Corey. I had to wave him off there.
That's one of the things when you're not inside an enclosed press box,
Wow.
you're up here and the bugs are flying around, the love bugs and all other kind of bugs, and the Leopards are trying to go ahead here on third down and 13 yards to go, find a way to continue to get pay dirt here at Harris Terry Stadium.
Now this is playing in Citronelle's hand. The clock stopped and Blount went back 5 yards, but they have potential. They can strike and trying to connect with Armani Diamond. He is wide open, Corey. He has nothing but green grass. He's at the 10-5. Touchdown, Blount Leopards. Armani Diamond with a 72-yard touchdown, I believe, from LaMarcus Brown to Armani Diamond. We'll check the yardage on that, but here's the replay.
And exactly what happened to the Citronelle defense. You cannot allow anyone to get behind you in your 2-minute offense. 1:06 remaining. That's a huge touchdown pass by the Blount Leopards, as it's the third touchdown of the half by quarterback LaMarcus Brown, putting that on the money. And again, the Blount Leopards have been able to start the first quarter with a rushing touchdown. The last three have been all throwing, but speed kills. There's no substitution for it. The point after is up,
It is,
and it is
good.
true.
It is good, Corey. So I looked at the yardage, 63-yard pass from LaMarcus Brown to Armani Diamond, and Brown had all day to throw it. And you talked about that seam right up the middle, and that's what Armani Diamond did, Corey. Let's take a look at the replay.
But
great pass.
Look at the time that LaMarcus Brown has. I mean, he's going to drop back. Nice pocket. Does a good job of stepping and climbing up in that pocket, Al. Finding Diamond, streaking down. Diamond in the rough. He shines like a diamond in that situation, but it's a good, nice throw. I love the way that he was able to climb the pocket. Does a good job of feeling the pressure from the outside, steps up, throws a ball on the money with the pressure coming from his left side, and just like that, Blount's going to go up 26-0, possibly here at halftime.
If you'd ask Coach Howley, this is exactly the way you want to script it out. They got those jitters out the way, a couple false starts here and there. But, Corey, and think about that play came after a false start. It was third and about 15 for the Leopards, as we see some lightning in the far distance there. Hopefully that will not affect us here at the ball game. Flag on the play.
Hopefully it's heat lightning.
Heat lightning, not rain lightning.
We have a dead ball, offsides on the kicking team. It's a 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
So that will push the Leopards back 5 yards, and they'll re-kick it as White Hat Sean Kelly lets us know. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we're going to talk to our Director of Communications for the Mobile County Public School System, Miss Renee Phillips. She's going to stop by. Some things coming up, been in the news past couple days, and we'll let her explain and talk about that, some of the changes happening with learning here in Mobile County. A little short kick. Tyler Miller juggles it. Does not step out of bounds, but he's got to get on a horse quick because the Blount Leopards are all over him, Corey. And he takes a loss, actually, on that kickoff return, so they're going to spot it at about the 19-yard line. 1 minute and 1 second remains here in the first half.
And Citronelle right here has to make sure that they don't turn the football over. They just want to go ahead and go to the half and be able to regroup, as Coach Barnett can tell his guys, hey, look, we have a whole second half in front of us, guys. No need to give up. Just continue to execute our game plan, not turn the football over, because I know Blount for a fact has scored 6 points off of the Citronelle turnovers. And that one right there, a great execution of the 3-minute drill by Blount, but Citronelle has to do a better job defensively of making sure they don't have any blown assignments.
Tyler Miller goes up the middle for a couple of yards.
Number 8 on the carry.
Picks up about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 here for Citronelle. Also at halftime, we'll take a look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association top 10 polls for Class 4A, 5A, 6A, and 7A, and also region standings as the majority of the teams in our area are now into region play.
Malik O'Bell on the tackle.
Taking place throughout the Gulf Coast area. So a timeout has been called on the field with 45.9 seconds remaining. Good shot right there of Auburn commit Lee Hunter, showing up on offense and defense tonight, Corey.
Yeah, I like the way that they use Lee Hunter to work themselves out of that hole.
Yeah,
but
nice formation.
anytime that Blount is able to sustain drives of 94 yards and 95 yards.
Huge.
That's just, I mean, that's almost 200 yards of total offense right here in the first half alone. So Blount probably has close to 350 total yards of offense in the first half alone. Not the score that Coach Barnett really wanted to look at and see, but his guys are doing a great job of competing. I mean, if it's not for a turnover and a one blown assignment right there in your 2-minute drill, they're right back in this game. And again, you have to look at this Citronelle Wildcat team. They have a couple of games under their belt, Al.
They do.
Blount's just fresh and ready to come out and pounce on whoever the opponent is. And tonight it just so happens to be Citronelle here in the first half.
Citronelle has a 1-point victory against Satsuma and a 1-point loss to Robertsdale last week on a botched extra point that did not happen at the end of the ball game. Third down here for the Wildcats coming up.
And you know, in rivalry games, anything can happen. UMS right with 21 unanswered points in the first half, and St. Paul's trails UMS 21-10 now.
Wow, look at there. So the battle of O'Shell Road heating up, Corey. And it appears as if Citronelle is going to let that one run out. No need to snap another play after a great first half offensive performance by the Blount Leopards. We have 3 touchdowns thrown by LaMarcus Brown, thank you about that, Corey, and 1 touchdown run in by Jarvis Williams.
Yeah, I mean, that first touchdown by Jarvis was huge because he bounced off maybe 4 of 5 Citronelle Wildcats.
Yeah.
He kind of set the tone because that's what Coach Holly loves to do. He loves to go ahead and establish the run first, and look what it's led to. It's led from 3 passing touchdowns by LaMarcus Brown, all in long, explosive plays. And when we go back and we take a look at my checklist, you'll see a situation to where that's what Citronelle wanted to limit. They wanted to limit the explosive plays and have not been able to do so yet.
Let's take it down to Mike Herndon with Coach Lev Holly.
Coach Holly, a lot of explosive plays out of your offense. Defense is controlling the line of scrimmage. How do you feel about how they played the first half?
I thought we played well. You know what I mean, but not good. And I still think we got a lot of work to do, being the first game, but, you know, I'm proud of the effort right now. They're playing hard, you know, but we got 2 more quarters, you know, and that's part of the culture of finishing. So we got to go out and finish. We got to get the ball out right here and punch one in.
What would you like to see some improvement on in the second half?
Just tempo and a lot more energy. So, you know, we got to, you know, we talk about juice, we talk about energy, so just got to keep our foot on the gas.
Thanks a lot. Good luck the second half.
Corey, I love the humbleness of Coach Holly. This is the same guy I saw with the Blount Leopards put up 50 points on the floor a couple of years ago. As he says, we still got some work to do.
Yeah, and that's what's scary, that they do have a lot of work to do. Special teams-wise, I know they want to clean up some things. They missed that first extra point. So if you want to start nitpicking at what the Blount Leopards need to work on early, it is special teams, kickoff play. They gave up a couple of third-down situations. They want to keep the offense on the field as long as possible.
All right, we're going to come back and talk with Renee Phillips. Also give you some state polls and standings as well locally. And we might even show you the Blount High School band. It's halftime. Blount's on top. Don't move.
The Environmental Studies Center is a natural sciences education facility designed to provide unique learning experiences. In addition, wildlife rehabilitation plays a vital role each day at the center. Featuring more than 500 acres of rich woodlands, the center affords teachers, students, and the general public an opportunity to experience firsthand the natural environment. Environmental Studies Center. It starts with us in the Mobile County Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Todd.
And I'm Terry, and we'd like to invite you to join us as we take a look at nature in ways that you've never seen before.
Come travel with us as we go coast to coast to uncover some of the most interesting animals
and some of the most beautiful scenery that's offered outdoors.
You can join us on our nature adventures right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
Hi, I'm Todd.
And I'm Terry, and we'd like to invite you to join us as we take a look at nature in ways that you've never seen before.
Come travel with us as we go coast to coast to uncover some of the most interesting animals
and some of the most beautiful scenery that's offered outdoors.
You can join us on our nature adventures right here on the MCPSS TV network.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Blount on top right now, 26-0 over Citronelle. And joining us down on the field, we have Director of Communications, Miss Renee Phillips. Renee, how are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I am hot as usual. We had you the first ball game, and we had humidity. Did you bring it back with you again, Renee?
I actually think it feels good. The band sounds great. This feels like football.
Well, you know what? You're down on the field, but we're up here. As Corey and I say, the heat rises. So that's what's going on. So some things have been going on lately this week. I've been seeing you on TV, and there is talk of students having the option to return. Why is that taking place, and kind of what's going on with that to let our parents know?
That's right. So some good news for Mobile County. The COVID-19 numbers have gone down faster than we thought that they would. And so we are going to give parents and students the options to return to school if they feel that that's what's best for their family. So we're going to phase it in over the next 4 weeks. It's an option. They can either come back to school or continue the remote learning.
Now, I understand it's a gradual transition, so could you tell us what will it kind of look like as we transition into this?
That's right. So on Monday, we're going to have some of our special needs students come back, and those parents have been contacted, so they're welcome to come if they feel comfortable doing so. The remainder of our special ed students will come back during their grade level as they come back. But then starting on the 21st, we'll let pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, sixth grade, ninth grade, and then we're going to phase in more grades through October 5th when everybody's back.
So tell me, Renee, what if parents don't want to return their children to school right now?
Right, and I know many people feel that way, and so that's why we're going to continue to offer the remote learning that we started on September 1st, because we want to make sure that families do what's best for them. If they want to stay home, do the remote learning. If they want to get back in school, then they can do that as well. The schools will be contacting each family to see what they want to do.
All right, last question. How can parents find out more information about this transitional process?
So we'll be emailing some parent information in coming days with some of the details of what school will look like in person and the options. And then also pay attention to our Facebook page and our website, and then follow your school's social media and website for updates as well.
All right, Renee, we appreciate you stopping by. Anything else you'd like to add before we let you go?
You know, I think this is a great move for Mobile County. I think that offering the choice is what's key here. You can do what you feel comfortable with. We know that we probably will have some cases of COVID-19. There will be quarantines, but we're going to roll with it, and we're going to be as safe as we possibly can with social distancing, masks, and all that. So it's going to be a good thing.
All right, Renee Phillips, Director of Communications, Mobile County Public Schools. We appreciate you stopping by. Don't move. We're going to have more. Halftime is going on right now. Harris Terry Stadium, Blount on top of Citronelle.
I believe my child's school is probably one of the best ones I could have picked in Mobile. She's in the PACE program. The teachers are phenomenal. The principal, couldn't ask for a better principal. The research that I had done myself, I believe the quality of education in Mobile County Public School System is excellent. For me and my child, I'm gonna stick with the public school system. I think it's the way to go.
Hello, my name is Abby Dinkins. My children go to E.R. Dixon Elementary School. The education that my kids are getting, it's tremendous. There's one time that I thought about homeschooling my kids because I wasn't sure, we're new here. And when I enroll my children at the public school, and I'm just blown away because the teachers are nice, the curriculum itself is different. I believe in Mobile County Public School education for preparing my children for life.
I'm Mac McElroy, and I'm a junior here at Baker High School. My future plans after I graduate high school are to go to Auburn University and get a mechanical engineering degree. And taking the AP courses could help me get credits to decrease the amount of time I had to be in college. Baker High School has prepared me for college, career, and life readiness by allowing me to participate in these clubs and classes that I'm taking now.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
My name is Harshini. I'm a junior at Davidson High School, and after graduation, I plan on pursuing a career in dermatology. Currently, I'm taking science classes such as AP Chemistry, Biology, and Human Anatomy, which will help me pursue my career. I feel as though Mobile County is preparing me for my career choice in that they provide rigorous classes that help me think further beyond just what I'm learning. I'm Harshini Cannon, a junior at Davidson High School, and I'm learning today so I can be a leader tomorrow.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
What's the matter, baby? You're not feeling good?
School-age children are at a higher risk of getting and spreading germs and viruses. To help protect the spread, students are encouraged to stay home when sick. Parents, it's important for your child to remain at home at least 24 hours after they no longer have a fever of 100 degrees or higher without the use of medications. Please help us maintain a healthy learning environment.
We welcome you back to Harris Terry Stadium. Al Whedon, Corey LeBounty, Blount on top 26-0. Corey, they dominated the first quarter, and we have first half stats to explain why tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the running game that was established. Part of establishing the identity was Blount. They have to go with the run game. 213 rushing yards to only 7 for Citronelle. The passing yards, 129 to 53 for Citronelle. Total yards, 342 to 60, and that's a situation when you start looking at total yards. Blount probably had 342 yards. There are teams that can't get that in a full-quarter ball game, and Blount has that here in the first half. The one turnover for Citronelle led to 6 points by the Blount Leopards, and penalties that's what Blount has to clean up in the second half. 6 for 35 and 2 for 15 for the Wildcats.
Blount on top 26-0. That first play they had 95-yard drive. 7 play capped off by a 38-yard touchdown run by Jarvis Williams, and the rest of them were through the air. 34-yard touchdown pass from LaMarcus Brown to Melvin Williams. Those are the points off the turnovers you just talked about. And I believe Blount's first possession in the second quarter, Brown hooks up with Williams again for 28 yards. And Corey, we just watched them put together a 94-yard drive. It was 3rd and 15 just off of a false start, which pushed them back 5 more yards. And what happens? LaMarcus Brown connects with Armani Diamond for 63 yards. So the Blount offense, it's the first game, but they're clicking already.
The biggest thing for Blount, though, they were 6-0 1 year ago at home. They're looking to go to 1-0 at home this particular season of the 2020 football season. But you're starting to look ahead if you're Lev Holly. You're happy with the way your team came out and performed in the first half. You're looking ahead to Saraland now, because I know you have another 2 quarters. But if you go ahead and you come out and you hit Citronelle in the mouth right here, you have an opportunity to get a lot of younger guys very important reps. And I know you've been waiting a long time to get your starting unit those valuable reps. But, again, you have a huge matchup with Saraland next week that you have to start at some point in time here early in the third quarter. If you're able to come out and score on this opening drive of the third quarter, you need to start looking at letting as many guys as possible start getting into the game, because Saraland and Blount have played some epic region matchups in the past.
And you know what that means. We're going to have to pull out our super-duper roster depth chart if he pulls the starters tonight, Corey.
And that's exactly what I expect to happen. But, again, Citronelle, they can try to rewrite this story.
They could.
And because, there's 4 quarters of football games, but based on what we've seen in the first half, Citronelle has a very, very steep slope to climb to try to get back in this game, and they have to sustain drives. That's what Citronelle is going to have to do if they want to go ahead and grind out. And if they're able to get on the board, that makes Coach Holly reconsider whether he wants to go ahead and keep his starters or his second and third string guys. So now it's going to be about being assignment-based football and making sure you help your teammates out.
All right, we don't see the Blount band on the field, but I promise you we are going to show them at some point tonight. We're going to come back and look at the state polls, 4A, 5A, 6A, and 7A after this break. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
When parents are involved in school, you get more of this and less of this.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
Hello, I'm Jordan Clark, and I'm in the Health Service Academy at John L. LaFleur Magnet High School. My future career is to be an obstetrician gynecologist. With this academy, I'm learning firsthand from people already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job really makes me want to study hard and work harder towards my career goal.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. Visit mcpss.com.
We welcome you back to Look Good Field at Harris Terry Stadium. Al Whedon, Corley Bounty, China Powell handling stats on the sidelines. We have Mike Herndon covering the action, and Blount on top 26-0. Moments away from third quarter kickoff. Before we do that, let's take a look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association top 10 polls. We're going to start at 4A and work our way up top. American Christian still the number 1 team in 4A core. The Viger Wolves, they're holding tight to their number 3 spot in the poll, and Mobile Christian moves up 1 spot from 8 to 7 this past week. No other 4A teams picking up votes this week, Corey. Williamson drops out of the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough way to try to get in these polls, because 4A is a very tough classification when you start looking locally. Viger and Mobile Christian, again, Viger getting an opportunity to taste 4A for the first time in school history.
Right. And picked up 1 first-place vote right there. Let's take it on up to 5A. Central Clay County and St. Paul's are still 1 and 2 in the poll, with St. Paul's picking up 1 first place vote as well. Faith Academy sitting solid at number 5, and UMS Wright maintains their number 8 slot. Now, we know the Battle of Old Shell Road is going on tonight, so St. Paul's and UMS, one of those two, they're going to move depending on who wins that ball game, Corey.
21-16 at the half. UMS Wright leads St. Paul's in the Battle of Old Shell Road, but St. Paul's on national television did a good job against Spanish Fort, and then trying to go ahead. UMS Wright defeated LaFleur 1 week ago, but Faith Academy absolutely drumming LaFleur at this point in time. I think the last score I heard was 45-0 at halftime.
All right.
The 5A polls, St. Paul's, Faith Academy, UMS Wright definitely belong there in the top 10.
Over in 6A, the top 3 remain the same. As Blount still is number 3. Now, Saraland moves up 4 spots from 10 to number 6 after their win over McGill-Tulane last week. McGill is now a 6A team. That Yellow Jackets loss places them just 1 vote short outside of the top 10. So, Corey, they missed it by 1 vote. They picked up 25 votes. Also, Robertsdale down there with 3 votes. And yes, Corey, your eyes are not deceiving you. The Robertsdale Golden Bears are 3-0.
Yeah, they're trailing to the Spanish Fort Toros at this point in time. But Blount here looking and showing why so many people think that they are a top contender.
Correct.
And a possible state winner at the 6A level. That's why that Blount-Saraland matchup is so huge. Not only is it a region game, it has poll implications as well.
They do. And lastly, in 7A, Thompson, Hewitt, Trussville, Hoover, and Auburn are the same top 4 from last week. They remain at 2 and 3 from last week. Also, Daphne enters the top 10 for the first time this year at number 7 with their loss. With their victory over Fairhope last week. The Fairhope Pirates dropped to number 10. So outside of the top 10, you got the Murphy Panthers representing Corey. We saw them last week against Davidson, picking up 2 votes outside of the top 10 there.
Murphy still ahead of MGM this evening, having an opportunity to go ahead and try to move up those polls. That's exactly what they want to do. But a tough 7A poll as well as Fairhope shows. With that loss last week to Daphne. Daphne played with a lot of emotion, even though Daphne is regaining itself in 7A. Still a lot of football left to be played, and I think Rico Jackson has a great thing going for the Murphy Panthers.
They're playing at MGM tonight, as a matter of fact, so we'll get you a score check on that. There's a look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association poll, and Corey, appreciate it. Murphy on top, 19-7. We're going to be back with the second half kickoff up next. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
From birth up until school age, you know, he was a fast developer, fast learner. He was always a happy person. Every time you seen him, he had a smile on his face. The day I lost my son, I got that phone call. It was like my whole world just stopped. All I wanted to do was see my son. And I wasn't able to see my son until I had to go to the funeral homes. I think that was one of the hardest things that a parent has to do.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
I'm Tracy Tran, and I'm in the Healthcare and Dental Academy at Theodore High School. In the Dental Academy, I'm working alongside dental professionals getting hands-on training from those already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job makes me want to work even harder because now I know what I want to be.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. To find out more, visit mcpss.com.
As we start our second half, for our producer, Quentin Howard, director Wade Ford, and engineer Francis Conaway, I'm Al Wheaton, joined with Corley Bounty on the sidelines, Mike Herndon, and stats by China Powell. We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week as Cam Graves takes the second half kickoff. Blount does get the ball back and in great position to try to get this offense going for Coach Lev Holly, Corey.
David Sims, the 6'1", 230-pound junior with the special team stop for the Citronelle Wildcats, but Blount did not spend long in that locker room at all. They were right out here probably 7 minutes after the halftime started, right back on the field trying to stay fresh and move around. But if you're Lev Holly, that's a great shot of head coach Lev Holly from Blount High School right there. You want to go ahead, and I say you go ahead and go for the gusto. Go deep again and try to find your wide receivers, your speedy wide receivers, because you saw Armani Diamond showing his speed,
right,
as well as the great hands of Melvin Williams and Cam Graves also. So any Wildcat defender that's on the island, if Brown puts it on the money, that's what you want to see.
Hand off to Jarris Williams, the great running back for the Leopards, rushed over 1,400 yards last year, and he rushes up to the midfield stripe for a first downs as the Leopards are on the move already.
Great replay by our truck. They do a wonderful job bringing us these replays. Jarris just bounces the ball to the outside. Nice little cutback move right here. Freezes the defender and gains another 4 yards.
Great shot by the man, Richard Beatty, right there on the sidelines with the camera. First down and 10 for the Blount Leopards. Ball sitting, Corey, right in front of us here atop the press box at Harris Terry Stadium. Cam Graves at the top of the screen, lined up, wide out position. Back to Williams they go. Sorry, not Williams on that carry. Deshaun Williams, a freshman, picks up a couple yards, about 3 for the Leopards.
Tried to have a now you see me, now you don't moment. Tried to freeze the defender of Citronelle and was able to get positive yardage. But while we're out here at Harris Terry Stadium, got to give a shout out to the legendary Ben Harris.
Oh, yeah.
And Ben Harris, again, state champs in 90, 92, 96, 97, 98, and is just a legend in the entire state of Alabama.
So Williams picks up about 3 there. 2nd and 7, we'll call it, for Blount. Brown does a little quick hitch, fakes, trying to hook up with Graves. Does not, as I once again see at the far distance, some lightning there, Corey. But we're not being affected right now. Skies look pretty good.
And as long as it doesn't come rolling our way, as a nice cool breeze has settled upon our press box area. But you took your shot right there on 2nd down and 6 yards to go overthrew your intended wide receiver. But now you still can go back to your strong running game of Jarris Williams in the backfield for the Blount Leopards.
Looks like Jerry Brand is okay. He's going to line up here at the top of your screen, just outside of the slot position. Empty set. Brown's got time. trying to connect with Brand and cannot. So Coach Holly's got a decision to make right here. Is he going to go for it or punt? Blount has not punted the ball one time tonight, Corey.
And now do you want to flip the field? That's exactly what the Citronelle Wildcats wanted, was to come out and try to put Blount at 4th down, making the decision. Does Lev Holly right there, you know, the play clock on the field now does work here to start the second half. And do you quick kick here or do you go for some type of fake? But you're right on the 47-yard line of the Wildcats.
Myron Dunklin back to punt for the Leopards. He's a freshman. Gets a nice punt off right there. Sends Miller chasing it. Catches it on the one hop bounce. Miller kind of stutters, but he may pay for that one because he's wrapped up by the Leopards at about the 16 or 17-yard line.
Good job of special teams play by this Blount team. And now the Wildcats got the stop that they wanted coming out of halftime, and now are just going to have to build upon it one possession at a time. Picked up maybe 3 or 4 first downs in the first half and were able to sustain a drive and a half, and are going to have to continue to do that here in the second half of play, trailing 26-0.
On comes junior quarterback Michael Harvey with Tyler Miller in the backfield with him. Wildcats down 26 points. This is a 6A Region 1 contest and Blount's first ball game of the year. Gets that out to Jericho Benjamin. He escapes some tackles, cuts back in at the numbers there, and Benjamin earns a hard first down, but he picks up 12 yards.
Good job of this Blount defense in pursuit, Anthony Jones, but even better job of Citronelle moving the sticks, and nice throwback pass. Michael Harvey finds his playmaker, Jericho Benjamin, and Benjamin makes some Blount defenders miss in open field, and that's something that the Leopards are going to have to try to prevent here as Citronelle is able to get a first down, which they really need here in the second half of play.
Great shot of one of the Leopards fans there. Hand off to Miller, and he's cutting it up the middle, brings it here to the near side, but he is tackled and brought down by the Leopards. Kel Smith in on the tackle from his linebacker position. Corey, he ran a long way to get 2 yards.
He did.
Maybe 3 yards there.
And the biggest thing, though, if you're Blount, you don't want to get caught looking at the scoreboard. You want to play like it's 0-0.
Yeah.
You don't want to have those arm tackles. You want to go ahead and continue to do it in great form and fashion. But Michael Harvey trying to get things done for the Wildcats.
2nd and 6 is what the PA announcer is going to call it, so we'll go with that. Corey, nice breeze coming in from the north. I hope we don't have any showers, but it feels much better now than it did at the start of kickoff. That pass complete to Benjamin, as one of our friends has joined us on the monitor right there, and he flies away. Oh, straight to China Powell. 3rd down and 5 for the Wildcats coming up.
Jericho Benjamin along with Dorian Weaver are the biggest weapons, and I'm looking for Weaver as an impact player to find a way to make a difference for Citronelle here in the second half of action.
They've got Weaver lined up at the top of the screen with a double receiver stack coming up here. Big 3rd down for Citronelle. You need to pick this first down up right here and give some momentum as they go toward Weaver, and Harvey overthrows him, threw it behind him, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's who you wanted to try to find. You wanted
was
to
open.
try to find your playmaker, but you want that pass to be on the money, even if he does catch it and get his bell wrong. Brings up 4th down for the Leopards, and Citronelle deep in their own territory at the 35-yard line. Definitely want to try to flip the field right here, and Blount wants an opportunity to atone for their first punt of tonight's contest.
Rashard Kaiser and Armani Diamond going back to receive this punt from Pedro Rodriguez. He kind of put some air on that one. Gets a nice punt as it goes out of bounds at close to about the 20-yard line. So Corey, Blount comes into this ball game 2-1, their first ball game they're playing. But credit to you, you're 2-0 for your Game of the Week Brainbusters this year. So we got that Brainbuster coming up, and it is not multiple choice. So we'll have it coming up at the heat timeout for you. So get yourself ready, Corey.
Going to go ahead and warm up the brain cells a little bit and try to go 3 for 3.
So the Leopards offense coming back on the field. Coach Holly still sticking with his main starters here, up 26 points with 8:01 remaining in the third quarter. Blount with a commanding lead over Citronelle, so they're spotting the ball here at the 20-yard line. Second look at Blount in the second half, their second possession. The first one resulted in no points. Jarris Williams coming to the near side. Going to be close to the first down marker. Depends on where they spot this. Looks like they're spotting it right at the 30. And he may have enough to get this one if Sean Kelly looks over and decides he wants to move the sticks.
Good job of Jarius bouncing to the outside. I do see a penalty flag down right at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, there it is.
Maybe holding right in the area of holding.
And it looks as if that may be the case. They're starting to walk backwards.
During the play, we got holding on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It's still first down.
So that I pushed the Leopards back there. So based on the spot, Williams had the first down, but they'll come back and we'll call this one 1st and 5 since they're going to spot it from the occurrence of the foul. Good sportsmanship being shown right there by Big Joe Bird, kind of dabbing it up with the Blount offensive line, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to see.
Great sportsmanship. There's a quick pass intercepted by Citronelle as they jumped in front of that pass. Josh Pugh picks off LaMarcus Brown, and the Wildcats are close to being in the red zone already.
Good job of sitting down on that route. 4 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and add an interception to the resume of Josh Pugh, the 5'11", 179-pound sophomore. And not the start that Lev Holly and his offense wanted here to begin the second half of action, but now Citronelle is the deepest in Blount's territory than they have been all night long, and now it's going to be up for Mr. Michael Harvey to find his playmakers Dorian Weaver and Jericho Benjamin to try to get on the board for Citronelle.
Empty set here for the Wildcats as Weaver looks as if he was trying to line up in a tight end position, but Coach Barnett is going to call a timeout, Corey, at 7:36 remaining here in the third quarter.
Offensive coordinator Kenny Gilliam getting his offense together, knowing that, hey, sometimes when you have the transition from offense to defense, you don't have the personnel ready to go like you want, and it's a good timeout because you're in decent field position right here at the 26-yard line of the Leopards. Again, the deepest that they have been, and you want to try to put 6 on the board to give your team and give your fans a little momentum, a little bit of excitement.
To find out what's happening in Mobile County Public Schools, from school news to weather alerts, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or our website, mcpssthewire.com. Mobile County Public Schools, learning today and leading tomorrow. Blount leading right now, 26-0 over Citronelle. But an interception by Josh Pugh of LaMarcus Brown has set up Citronelle at Blount's 22-yard line. Great opportunity right here for the Wildcats to get on the board. Timeout call by Jason Barnett, so he's got his guys set up. Here comes Jericho Benjamin in motion to the near side. Play clock is operational, so that's a good thing. Harvey escapes the Blount attack, and it looks as if that's going to be an interception by the Blount Leopards as they step up. Looks like Darrell Williams picks off Michael Harvey on his first pass there after the Wildcats interception, Corey.
And the coaching staff from Citronelle is absolutely furious over there on the far sideline. And I want to say there is a penalty flag on the play on the far sideline. Can't really see it. If it is a sideline warning, it's already been called against Citronelle once. And I want to say they wanted a horse collar on that attempted tackle.
They did, yeah.
And
unsportsmanlike.
It is going to be unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
It was a dead ball. 15 yards, be first down.
So you tack on 15 yards to that interception that was added by Darrell Williams.
Wow.
Darrell Williams, 5'7", 150-pound junior, gets the second takeaway of the night for the Blount Leopards. And just like that, LaMarcus Brown's going to have an opportunity to atone for his interception. But Jarris Williams scored the first rushing touchdown. I would see a nice heavy dose of him running the football.
And it looks as if Blount is about right where they were when they threw that interception as they hand the ball off to Williams and he picks up a couple. So the Leopards getting a do-over right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation to where Citronelle's sideline staff, again, was not happy and did get called for the unsportsmanlike after the fact. But Blount, leading 26-0, still has the shutout intact. Jarris Williams is still fresh because LaMarcus Brown has done a lot of the throwing and running.
And Weaver was trying to wrap up Brown, but he could not, and Brown still on his feet as he's dancing and moving. Picks up a significant gain there, but just short of the first down. Boy, if we could get that replay, because Dorian Weaver was right in his face, but could not bring him down.
David Sims with the stop, but you look at the dancing by Brown.
Yep.
Nice little stutter step, and he steps away from a couple of Wildcat defenders shedding those arm tackles and gets right to the sticks before he's buried by David Sims. Third down and 1 yard to go for the Leopards.
Hard-earned second down there for Brown, but he did his work. Handoff up the middle. Looks like Williams was on that carry.
I think he's going to be short.
He's going to be short, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be short on that one. It'll take Blount to fourth down. And I believe that's going to take us to our heat timeout here in the third quarter. And, Corey, you know what that means. It's time for us to reveal our game of the week, Brain Buster. So far, Mr. Corey Blount is 2-0 on the season so far. So doing pretty good there, young man.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I'll take that. So far, so good.
Well, you had multiple choice of the first game, and last week we went back to just Q&A, so we'll just do it the regular way. All right, Corey, here's your Brain Buster. What former Blount player was named 6A Back of the Year and was a member of the Alabama Sports Writers Association Super 12 team? Let you think about that one for a bit. We'll reveal the answer between the third and the fourth quarter. Is our weekly game of the week Brain Buster. We appreciate you joining us, Al Weed and Corley Bounty. Mike Herndon on the sideline, China Pownell doing the stats. Let's take a look at the 4A region standings while we got a break right quick. Try to get a couple of these on. We weren't able to at halftime. 4A Region 1 standings here in the area. Jackson 1-0 in the region, Mobile Christian 1 and also Viger. And Corey, you showed me a score at halftime. I believe Jackson was up 27-0 over Viger. That game being played up in Jackson.
Yeah, that's a tough place to win at Legion Field in Jackson, Alabama. But the Aggies looking to take it to Viger, and big down and distance situation coming up for the Blount Leopards.
We'll try to sneak in at 5A, 6A, and 7A before we get into the fourth quarter here. So fourth down, it appears as if Blount is going to go for it. Brown under center, something rarely seen in high school football. Lee Hunter in the backfield, providing some blocking, and Williams is going to have enough to get the first down.
And that's all they needed, just to kind of push and move the beef. And 5:35 remaining, or 5:36 remaining here in the third quarter, and fresh set of downs, and Blount's going to be content to try to pound the rock here.
Similar to what we saw them do in the second quarter when they had that 94-yard drive after a nice punt by Rodriguez. Blount pinned almost near to the end zone, and they brought in Lee Hunter, lined him up in the backfield a couple of times, and got out of that hole, Corey.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing here in no rush just looking to
Not at all.
spring the big one against this Wildcat defense. But the longer this Wildcat defense stays on the field, the better it is for this Leopard offense. As it looks like they're going to have a timeout called by Blount, just trying to make sure they have the correct personnel on the field as well.
All right, while we got a break, let's take a look at the 5A Region 1 standings. We just talked about 4A, so we'll talk about 5A, 6A, and 7A during this timeout. Faith Academy on top right now in the region. They're undefeated overall. You have Satsuma. They picked up a win against Citronelle last week, but that was not a region win, 14-13 as a matter of fact. UMS Wright and St. Paul's, they're doing battle tonight. And the last score I had from my buddy Richard Burton, he said UMS was up 27-16 on St. Paul's. And I believe you told me Faith Academy was beating LaFleur tonight.
43-0 at the half is what the score was. And, you know, you have a shocker right here. St. Michael Catholic is leading Williamson, was leading them 13-8 at half. Daphne and Theodore knotted up at 7 apiece. Spanish Ford all over Robbinsdale, 35-0. Faith Academy still leaving LaFleur 43-0. Murphy leading MGM 19-7. McGill-Tulin all over Gulf Shores 38-0, and UMS leading St. Paul's 21-16.
Well, the crowd swag surfing and Leopard swag surfing on top 26-0 right now over Citronelle. First to 10 here for the Blount Leopards. LaMarcus Brown, Jarris Williams still in the ball game, so main personnel still on the field for the Leopards, and they are draining as much of this play clock as they can. Hand off to Jarris Williams. Tries to hit the hole, and it closes up quickly, and they bring him down as he tries to escape. Looks like his forward progress is going to be credited with about 1.5 yards, Corey. As we look at the 6A region standings, Blount on top, Robertsdale, Saraland. Big matchup next week. You talked about it right here at Harris Terry Stadium. It'll be Blount and Saraland, and this is really competitive in this region. McGill lost to Saraland last week, and you got Citronelle and Blount playing tonight as well. So tough region here, 6A Region 1. Down on the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely, and to me, it's the toughest region in the state of Alabama in 6A, and the only other region, 7A, Region 3 is the toughest in 7A, but Blount in no hurry right here to make sure they just execute their offense. Jarris Williams.
There's the screen set up to Williams, but it is snuffed out by Dorian Weaver as he brings him down. No gain on the play. Great play by Weaver right there.
A score, Baker leading Bryant 29-6 at halftime.
That's a region game right there, 7A Region 1, so 9 to go.
Enterprise coming down, leading Davidson 38-0.
Now that game was originally at Enterprise, but I heard during the week it got moved to Baker, so it's at Baker's Stadium. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is being played at Baker High School.
Well, that's a good one for Coach Carley because they were looking at going on the road 4 weeks in a row, Corey, so they were at least able to stay home this week. Little quick out to Jarris Williams. He's got some room, and he has the first down as one of his blockers helps him out, and there's the rugby scrum, and it's going to stop at the 47-yard line of Citronelle, so the Leopards move the sticks.
Great job of throwing the swing pass.
Nice.
In the flat to Williams, and Williams, he has to make sure he catches the ball, and Brown feels the pressure, quickly swings it out. Nice cutback, and Williams goes right into the heart of this field, and right here at midfield, right at the 47-yard line of the Wildcats, with their hand on their hips. This defense has been on the field for a very long time here in the third quarter, Al.
Speaking of the field, we were down on the field earlier, Corey, and first game for this field. I see some action this season as the action's right there with LaMarcus Brown. He's brought down for about a 1 or 2 yard gain, but the field looks in pretty decent condition so far.
It does. I mean, luckily, if there was a rain, it did not make the field sloppy, and it did drain well to where it didn't hold. There were no really mud puddles or wet places on the field like we saw at Theodore a couple of weeks ago. And Jonathan Turner does a good job for the Citronelle defense getting the stop on that play, and Blount's only able to gain 1 yard, but more time bleeding off of the clock.
2nd and 9 here. I thought one of the Wildcats may have jumped off sides. Now, Cam Graves was running like an out, and LaMarcus Brown threw it over his shoulder, so I believe a little miscommunication on that play there.
Yeah, that could have been a oopsie if the defender turned around and was able to make a break on that football. He would have scored 6 the other direction, but third down and 9 yards to go for the Blount Leopards, and with 2:08 remaining here in the third quarter, I would just continue to pound and run the football to try to drain and bleed as much clock as possible.
Deshaun Williams in the backfield with LaMarcus Brown. Play clock at 3 seconds. Flag comes out. He does find Jerry Brand across the middle sitting in the flat, but I think from where that flag comes in from Sean Kelly, there it is, going to be a holding call against the Leopards, so it's coming back. Nice completion to Brand, but just a little too much help with the hands from the offensive line of the Leopards there.
It'll be an easy.
Got a holding on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. We'll replay 3.
Let's take it down the sideline, check in with Mike Herndon.
Tonight is September the 11th, and we had a moment of silence before the game, as I'm sure it has been done at high school games across the country. And those of us who are old enough to remember that terrible day certainly will never forget where we were when we heard the terrible news. That's certainly true for Citronelle coach Jason Barnett. He was at Escambia Academy in Atmore at the time, and told me that earlier today that he actually had a dream the night before that terrible day of a terrorist attack. It was not the same kind of terrorist attack that eventually happened, but as the rest of us spent that rest of that day in disbelief staring at our TVs, he had an eerie reminder or an eerie memory from the night before to carry with him as well.
Great work there, Mike. We do appreciate that. We know this is a day recognized and a great day of tragedy that happened across the country as Blount cannot convert on that third down, Corey. So as you think about it some years ago, Corey, how about yourself? Where were you on 9/11?
Hillsdale Middle School. Mr. Larry Mouton, I do believe, was the principal at the time at Hillsdale Middle School, and just would never forget.
Yeah.
The Pentagon also hit, and in my mind, you always thought the Pentagon would have some type of big guns come out and destroy anything that got in its way. But just
not like in the movies. Yeah.
Not like in the movies. That's exactly where I was, and I'll never forget that day either.
Miller takes the punt, does a little juke move here and there, but one of the Leopards grabs his jersey, so he's going to be marked down about the 42-yard line. Myself, Corey, I was working in radio. I had just moved to my apartment, so I didn't realize that my cable was still on. I hadn't even hooked the TV up, and my phone just started ringing that morning. My mom was calling me. You know what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. I was on vacation, actually. And at that time, my daughter, my oldest child, she's 23 now. She was living in D.C. with her mom, and I could not get in contact with them. I had no idea what was going on. And something told me, well, plug in the cable behind and there, and I found out it was unreal, man. Unreal. So needless to say, my vacation wrapped up pretty quick. I had to go to work the rest of the week. So with that, but a very tragic day for our country as we continue to remember those who lost their lives at 9/11. Tyler Miller running up the middle, and he's got enough for the first down for the Wildcats as we approach the end of the third quarter, and the chains are going to move for Citronelle.
Miller has made a couple of great moves tonight and really made the Blount Leopards tackle air.
Yeah.
As he has been able to plant his feet and make the Blount Leopards miss on several occasions. As you look at that replay, and what an outstanding job on that run by Miller. Just freezes the defenders and then takes a couple of them with a ride. And we have 20 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, and Citronelle will have to run one more play before we end the quarter.
Harvey gets that one out to his receiver. Sawyer Simonson picks up a couple. About 5 yards. Looks like they're going to give him credit for 5 years. So let's bring up second down here for Citronelle as we wrap up the third quarter, heading into the fourth. Blount with a commanding lead, 26-0. So before we get our brain buster on, Corey, we're going to take a look at the 7A standings right quick before we reveal the answer to our Game of the Week brain buster. 7A Region 1, Daphne seems to be the team right now in control. Murphy undefeated along with Daphne. And Daphne and Theodore are playing tonight down in Theodore, I believe. You talked about Baker on top of Bryant. And Fairhope took their first region loss to Daphne last week, but I've been impressed with the Pirates as well. Murphy's over at MGM, and you talked about Davidson being down the Enterprise. I believe Fairhope is at Foley tonight, if I'm correct. So looks like everyone in 7A Region 1 is playing each other except for Davidson. They're playing out of region, hosting Enterprise over at Baker High School. So there's a look at your 7A Region 1 standings. All right, Cora, let's get it up. Your game of the week, Brain Buster. What former Blount player was named 6A Back of the Year and was a member of the Alabama Sports Writers Association Super 12 team?
Gator bait. That's going to be one. Kadarius Toney.
All right.
Would be my answer for this Brain Buster.
We'll get the guys in the truck to reveal the answer. And Cora, let's see if you are correct. Kadarius Toney passed for 2,894 yards and 32 scores and ran for 894 yards and 15 touchdowns as he was the 6A Back of the Year. So, Corey, you done well. You're 3-0 on the season. How's it feel, Mr. Labonte?
It feels good, Al, because, I mean, right now I'm 3-0, and, you know, I like being 3-0, don't you know?
Yeah, we had a chance, opportunity to see Kadarius Toney do his magic a couple years ago right here at Harris Terry Stadium as well. Great player.
No question about it. Was our special guest at halftime when he came home a couple of years ago, right here atop the press box of Harris Terry Stadium, as we took a look at the Blount Leopard Marching Band, as they are also sporting Future Ones tonight also. Now, looking at our stats right here, the rushing yardage in the third quarter, Blount had 48 rushing yards to Citronelle's 14. Only 16 passing yards for Blount, 23 for Citronelle. Total yards in the third quarter, 64 for Blount, 37 for Citronelle. 1 turnover apiece, 1 penalty for 15 yards for Citronelle, 2 penalties for 25 yards for Blount.
Well, Corey, one thing that didn't happen in that quarter that happened in the first two was Blount scoring. Scoreless third quarter for Blount, but also for Citronelle. As we ended the fourth quarter, Blount on top 26-0. Overall, Citronelle has 2 turnovers and Blount has 1. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining as we enter the fourth quarter. Harvey's going to keep it. I'm sorry. They have switched quarterbacks. Dorian Weaver in. He's the backup quarterback, so he's going to keep that one and run it and pick up first down as the Wildcats are on the move here.
Yeah, that's the impact player, and that's what you want to do to get your impact players involved. You want to find a way to get one of your most explosive playmakers the football, and that's a great job of offensive coordinator Kenny Gilliam getting him the football. He decides to pull the run-pass option and run for positive yardage, getting first downs for the Wildcats.
It's like the Wildcats have drawn the Leopards off sides.
Number 34.
And what you also saw in the first quarter of action is that hard count, and the Wildcats able to get the Leopards to jump. But again, this is the second time that they've been deep in Leopard territory here in the second half of action.
Wildcats looking for some type of spark. They switched quarterbacks, bringing in senior Dorian Weaver just to the right of him. Is his senior counterpart, Tyler Miller. Hand off to Miller, weaves his way through the hole, wrapped up by Big Lee Hunter. But he picked up a good amount right there, Corey, after that penalty. So it'll be a second and about 3 yards coming up for Citronelle.
Good job of Anthony Jones and Lee Hunter both combining on that tackle. Anthony Jones makes contact first, the 210-pound sophomore. And now you're looking at second down and a long 3 yards to go for the Wildcats.
Looks like the play cop may have malfunctioned again, Corey, on that run, going up the middle for the Wildcats. Picks up a first down. Timothy Roberts. And Hunter brings him down.
I love the hard running of this Wildcat team. You bring in a fresh back.
Yeah, I thought he had enough.
Wildcats, and you
he's
bring
short.
in a new quarterback, but third and a yard.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can get the trenches moving right here.
I thought his progress had enough, but apparently not. So big play right here, Corey. You talked about Citronelle trying to get back into their deepest penetration of Blount Leopard territory. And Dorian Weaver's going to keep it as the Powell pushes him for the first down. And the Citronelle Wildcats are in the red zone.
Yeah, and we're going to see with them moving the sticks, can this Blount defense go ahead and bow up and get the stop that they want? They want to try to preserve this shutout.
Oh, you know they do.
It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Wildcats from right around the 17-yard line of the Leopards.
Harvey back into the ball game, so don't know what led to that change. Don't know if the young man was hurt or something, but he's back into the quarterback helm here. 1st and 10 inside the red zone. Little quick out to Benjamin. Thought it might have been a double pass, but maybe just a little bubble screen. But that bubble is popped for maybe about a 1-yard gain.
And that's what you want to see, Al, from your big 6'4", 315-pound defensive tackle as he goes from the line of scrimmage, follows that pass that developed on the Citronelle sidelines, and is able to make the tackle himself after only a 2-yard gain. 2nd down and 8 yards to go for Citronelle.
Inside the red zone, Wildcats definitely need some motivation, get some points on the board right here. You don't want to go back up Highway 45 empty-handed. Weaver throws it out to Benjamin, and boom, he is upended on that tackle.
Harold
Moore, Corey, comes in from his cornerback position. Look at this replay.
Textbook tackle by Moore as he goes low. How do you kill a horse? Well, you take his legs out from under him, and that's a situation to where you're going to make the surefire tackle by going after the legs instead of hitting high. No gain on the play.
Great tackle by Moore right there. And you talked about it. Blount defense bowing up here. They do not want to give up points. I know Coach Holly would like to preserve this shutout. Weaver rolling out. Can't find anyone. He's going to keep it. And, boy, he is wrapped up and sacked.
Great job by the defense continuing to pursue in that situation. And Blount's just so deep. Maliko Bell Donaldson, 6'1", 200-pound junior from his linebacker position, makes that critical stop for the Leopards. And the Wildcats aren't going in the direction that they wanted to after getting into Leopard territory, and it's 4-down territory here for Citronelle.
About to kick it, so Rodriguez is going to attempt a 34-yard field goal. Coach Barnett said 30 yards and in, he is good, but he's pushing his limit at about the 35, so we'll see with this 34-yard field goal attempt, but we have a flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, we have delay of game. On the offense, we have a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
You can see Coach Barnett behind official Kelly saying, come on, hurry up, get it together. So that's going to push the Wildcats back 5 yards. Will it make a difference? Now it turns into a 39-yard field goal attempt for Rodriguez. And he is going to be short, Corey. No good. That 5 yards made a difference.
Well, again, you go back and you start to take a look at what has led to Blount's success tonight. 6:57 remaining. They've been able to do a great job defensively of holding Citronelle to no points. And credit to Coach Barnett for going for that point right there, for that long field goal attempt. And you look at what Blount had to do to win this game tonight. They needed to find the identity of the team. They've been able to do that in regards to rushing the football, dominating the trenches. They've been able to do that and put a pause on the penalties. That's the biggest thing that they're going to have to work forward to next week when they play Saraland. You look at Citronelle, they need that special team spark. Well, Coach Barnett was about to give it to him right there, but unfortunately they missed it. Established the running game, have not been able to do that against Blount tonight, and limit Leopards' explosive plays. Well, we saw the Leopards on the first drive of the game definitely have explosive plays, and LaMarcus Brown threw 3 explosive touchdowns in the first half that leads Blount 26-0 over Citronelle.
Speaking of LaMarcus Brown, Corey, I'm thinking he's one of the leading candidates for the Career Tech Education Player of the ball game. Has 3 touchdowns tonight, and he contributed greatly in the air and with his legs.
Yeah, him and Melvin Williams both have done a great job. Melvin Williams being on the receiving end of 2 of those touchdowns, and Jarius Williams had a good game rushing the football as he scored the first touchdown rushing early on one of the most dynamic runs that you'll ever see. It's definitely huddle-worthy of a film for this young man in his high school football career, doing a great job running the football as Deshaun Williams gives him a breather.
And speaking of Melvin Williams, he is now under center, taking the snaps as LaMarcus Brown has been pulled, and he's getting his rest. And I think Coach Holly has pulled a few of his starters as we have our heat timeout at 5:57 here at Harris Terry Field. So, Corey, I think you're probably right about that. I'm digging a few of those candidates. Let's take a look at the remaining schedule here for the Blount Leopards. We know their first 3 ball games resulted in forfeits there. And right now, there it is, sitting next week. Saraland, that's going to be a big ball game. Blount ranked number 3 in the state in 6A. Saraland ranked number 5. And then the week after that, Corey, they're playing at Mary Montgomery. And then it's just region games the rest of the way for the Leopards, as you can see. And notorious of Coach Holly and his scheduling, he always, some kind of way, Corey, gets that last week off. So the Blount Leopards wrap it up on October 22nd this season.
A great way to just recharge and recoup your batteries going into playoff action.
Yeah.
And you would rather play that straight schedule. But, again, the matchup next week, Blount and Saraland, should be a spectacular one in regards to 6A Region 1.
Yeah.
And you know the friendship that Jeff Kelly and Lev Holly both have.
Yeah.
Lev Holly coaching with Jeff Kelly when he was at Jackson. And these 2 guys are competitors and best friends, except for the 4 quarters of football that they play against one another.
And here's a look at the remaining schedule for the Citronelle Wildcats. They'll have McGill-Tulane next week, and then on that kind of off week, the 5th or 6th week, however you want to call on the schedule, they'll play Alma Bryant, and then they are region tight all the way to the last game of the season, kind of a rivalry for them, the Leroy Bears, that big ball game for the folks up there in Clark County and Upper Mobile County when Leroy and Citronelle get together. And on that run, Williams gets the first down. He's near the midfield stripe, Corey, where they're going to mark him maybe about the 50-yard line. Big run by Williams.
Yeah, that's what you want. Deshaun Williams, go ahead and giving Jarius Williams a nice little breather.
Yeah.
As Deshaun Williams, again, is 5'10", 170-pound freshman, does a good job following behind his big offensive lineman.
Big hole.
Wide receivers doing a good job blocking down the field, and he's able to move the sticks and get another first down for the Leopard offense.
Big hole for Deshaun Williams to run through right there as the ball is sitting at the 50-yard line. 1st and 10, 5:10 remaining, Corey, and that breeze feels great coming out of the north there here at Harris Terry Stadium. Williams just going to keep that on a quarterback keeper. Flag comes in from Sean Kelly, and I think we know what that is, but a late flag. 2 guys are going at it in the middle of the field, and I believe we may have a personal foul coming up as well.
Yeah, a little unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, unfortunate. But I think the first flag coming in possibly maybe a hold against Blount.
Teammates encouraging one another to go ahead and keep your wits and cool about you, but that was an outstanding run by the young man who also has 2 receiving touchdowns. As Melvin Williams is the backup quarterback, is evident by that nice run.
Holding on the offense, which is a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. And then we also have a dead ball unsportsmanlike on the offense. We have a dead ball unsportsmanlike on the defense, which those offset. So it would be first down.
So the holding penalty will be intact, and the 2 personal fouls are going to offset as the run right there from Williams. Great run, Corey, but it's going to be negated. It'll be first down, but it's going to be first down and about 25 here for the Leopards coming up.
Deshaun Williams, I do believe, is going to be called for that holding. But what you want to try to do is just continue to milk this clock, stay in bounds, get half the yardage back, not throw in interceptions, and keep Melvin Williams healthy for the Blount Leopards, as he was such an integral part of being on the receiving end of LaMarcus Brown's touchdowns.
Hand off to Williams. Picks up a couple to take Blount to second down.
And one thing, Saraland had a bye this week. They did not play a game, so they'll be fresh.
They will
getting ready to prepare for the Blount Leopards next week.
Second down here coming up for the Leopards. And, Corey, you bring a very good point. With Jeff Kelly and his quarterback Carson Green, a lot of talk about him being one of the top quarterbacks in the area, and they will come in well rested, ready to take on these Blount Leopards. That will technically be just their second game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation to where Blount has waited and waited and waited to play. They get an opportunity to play, and Saraland has played and waited and played and waited, and now you're going to have two big-time programs playing one another next week, but I'm excited to see what the outcome of that game will be, as Blount's now in the third down and close to 30 yards to go situation.
Clock continues to run as Melvin Williams directs Deshaun Williams over just a little bit. Rolls out, cannot find anyone, but does locate a man, cannot get it completed.
Incomplete pass.
It's going to take the Leopards to fourth down, and appears to be the second time we will see them punt the ball tonight.
One thing for sure, though, Bruce Crenshaw, Mario Hardy, Kelvin Eaton, Peyton Daly, and Connor Howard gave LaMarcus Brown plenty of time early in this contest to throw the football and to create holes for Jarius Williams. And Jarius Williams did a great job creating yards after contact, but this drive right here is going to stall out as this great Citronelle defense, who has 4 returning starters from a year ago, are going to continue to learn. And Dorian Weaver has played both ways for the Wildcats, as he's played running back, receiver, quarterback. He's done it all, linebacker for the Citronelle defense. This is a young man at 6'3", 220 pounds, is definitely a player that stands out, and one of the reasons you see why he's an impact player for Citronelle. And it doesn't get any easier for the Wildcats, as they have McGill Tulin next week, who are leading Gulf Shores 36-0.
Got to thank the folks at Future Ones, where you can get team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all sports in between. Make sure you wear the future. Wear Future Ones. Also, Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives. A portion of subs purchased will go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, providing life-saving equipment to first responders. And Corey, it wasn't life-saving, but it was right on time. Jim and Susie Sherman with the eats today at Firehouse Subs from their Greenlight Road location. I was able to get me a sandwich or two before the ball game, so thanks to Firehouse Subs and Future Ones. Coach Lev Holly called a timeout before the Leopards were penalized for having 12 men on the field. One of their players was not able to get off the field in time, so he decides to use a timeout and not suffer 5 yards and pin Myron Dunklin closer to the end zone there. So Dunklin's going to line up at about the 16-yard line to get this punt off for Blount.
Good job.
Tyler Miller's just going to let that one get away from him. He's going to avoid it. Late flag comes in, Corey. Late flag, as the players are going to their sidelines. And another flag, I believe a player took a helmet off, and he is going to be penalized for that.
And, you know, if you're Coach Holly, that's one of the things that you definitely have to look at on film, is to clean up. You don't want any of these unnecessary, unsportsmanlike penalties that will wind up costing your team down the line next week against Saraland.
Have a dead ball unsportsmanlike on the receiving team. A dead ball unsportsmanlike on the kicking team. They'll offset and we'll play first down right here.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the field. Both offsetting.
2:55 remaining here in the fourth quarter of action. The Citronelle Wildcats take over with the ball on their own 30-yard line out.
And Corey, another flag has come out. This one on the near side here, about the 45-yard line,
Look
close
like
to the
maybe
home
a
side.
Sideline warning again, which will equate in a 5-yard penalty, as Blount has been warned earlier. 5-yard penalty is what it will be marched off as. The first one's going to be a warning. The second one will be a flag. As I mentioned earlier, you have the out-of-bounds line.
On Blount. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, that's something Whitehead Sean Kelly told us about before the ball game. The coaches have the 10 to the 10, but he said if you get outside that zone, now you're in my comfort zone now. But also, you mentioned it about that line that has been established right here on the sidelines that the coaches have to be behind. And the state is really big about making sure social distances is being practiced as best as possible, but keep these folks off the field.
And you see defensive coordinator Lee Smith back in his first year in that role for the Blount Leopards, directing on who he wants to sub in the game and doing a wonderful job as an assistant principal here in the Mobile County Public School system, as well as teaching these young players how to become great citizens as well.
All right, Corey, I think we're about to reveal our Career Tech Education Player of the ball game. Let's see who we have selected, and there it is. LaMarcus Brown, quarterback for Blount High School, had 3 touchdowns tonight, Corey. I believe he probably threw it maybe over 200 yards tonight.
Yeah, I mean, easy situation for him as he was one of our impact players. And you can say he definitely was the player of the game, doing it with his feet as well as his arm strength, putting some on the money. He did have that one interception that he would like to have back, but he'll look at the tape and he'll learn from that and he'll grow from that. But it definitely gives Jeff Kelly and the Spartans something to look at on film in regards to how much speed, how much quickness, and what a great job they have to do keeping him contained in the pocket and getting some pressure on him as he stepped up and threw a couple of strikes.
Not a bad way to start your season off. 3 touchdowns and 1 pick there. Just got an update from our buddy Richard Burton over at the UMS Wright St. Paul's game. UMS Wright 30-28 with 9:50 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, fantastic finish coming there. Battle of Old Shell Road, and Theodore now leading Daphne 14-7 with 2:41 left in the contest as well.
That's impressive. I was talking to Dave Schultz yesterday over at WNSP, and he was asking what would it probably take for Theodore, and I said for Coach Eric Collier, they got to get that defense to slow Daphne down because they can get quite explosive with quarterback Trent Battle, and if that's the case, they're playing right into Theodore's hand.
The biggest thing, though, is Kirsten Rogers makes his return for the Theodore Bobcats as we saw him concussed in week 0 for the Theodore Bobcats against Saraland. So now he has a couple of weeks to go ahead and get his wits about him, and him and T.J. Richardson both create a dynamic 1-2 punch for the Theodore offense.
And that will set up, if Theodore can get that win, that will be huge because that will set up a big game next week with Theodore and Murphy over at Last Stadium. Murphy playing MGM tonight out at MGM. So congratulations once again, the quarterback for the Blount Leopards, LaMarcus Brown, who is our Career Tech Education Player of the ball game. As Citronelle continues to run this ball, they brought in Justin Adams, a freshman, leading the Wildcats right now, as Harvey and Weaver are out of the ball game. First down for the Wildcats, ball at the 50-yard line.
Continuing to gain positive yardage. Don't want to quit, want to continue to try to build on something moving forward against the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets next week. Under a minute left. No quit in this Wildcat team coached by Jason Barnett.
He gets it out quick but cannot connect, so incomplete as the young man was trying to connect with T.J. Orso.
And Orso, the 5'9", 165-pound senior. And just want to thank Coach Barnett and his staff for getting us all our information in a very timely manner this week. Again, no quitting his team as they lost a heartbreaker 1 week ago. Just came up against a hungry and tough Blount team tonight. But Coach Holly want to thank his staff as well for getting us our stats early and always being approachable and getting us what we need to make this MCPSS TV network broadcast possible.
It helps us out as we're under 1 minute remaining here in the contest. Third down for Citronelle.
Murphy leading MGM 31-13.
So it looks like Murphy's going to capture that win. Orso's going to keep that. I'm sorry, not Orso. Justin Adams on the carry.
Third down. Fourth down.
And I believe, Corey, that may be our last play of the ball game. As Coach Barnett is just going to pull his guys off the field. So Blount is going to secure a 26-0 victory. Their first actual ball game of the season, and they get the win over Citronelle, a region win on top of that.
The biggest thing is the great explosive start that you saw by this Blount Leopard team. Jarius Williams did a wonderful job of establishing the running game for the Blount Leopards and Lev Holly. And what happens when you establish the running game? It opens up the passing game, and this great veteran offensive line of the Blount Leopards did a great job giving Brown time to throw the football. He did so, having 3 first-half touchdowns. They started the game in the first half the way they wanted to, didn't come out in the third and fourth quarter and finish the game like Coach Holly asked them to do at halftime. But that's credit to this Citronelle team and showing no quit and saying, hey, we're not going to give up any more than we did in the first half.
That's right.
Hopefully playing the third and fourth quarters, wishing they would have played the first half that way, giving themselves an opportunity. But Coach Barnett does a great job. Citronelle fans came out and supported this team and will continue to do so as the season moves along. But I know this Blount Leopard program is just happy that they were able to play a football game finally.
All right, we're going to get our game stats up here, Corey. Take a look at the overall. Right there, rushing yards, you talked about it. Blount with 287 rushing yards, 145 passing. Total yards, 432. 2 turnovers for Citronelle, 1 for the Leopards. I know Coach Holly's not going to like that last line, Corey. 11 penalties for 80 yards.
You find that way to improve, and how do you do that? You put a pause on those penalties, which is exactly what they're going to have to do moving forward against a great Saraland team. But 432 yards of total offense, that's impressive in any book, and it's exactly what Lev Holly wanted, the Leopard program wanted, getting the W here in the first game here at Harris Terry Stadium.
All right, speaking of Coach Holly, we're going to take it down to the field. Mike Herndon is with winning coach Lev Holly, and I believe he may have our career tech education player LaMarcus Brown as well.
Here with Blount coach Lev Holly and our player of the game, LaMarcus Brown. Coach, a dominant first half, a little uneven second half. How do you feel about how the game came out, and how important was it for that defense to hold the shutout?
It's always important to get the win, and one thing about it, we talked about it. You looked on defense, man, we think it's 2 guys returning. So, we'll take the W anyway and go back to the drawing board and just try to have a better week next week. We got a tough Saraland team coming in here. Coach Kelly, the old guy, do a magnificent job. As my former boss, he's going to be having prepared, having ready to go, but we'll be ready to go also.
LaMarcus, 2 touchdowns tonight. How did you feel out there throwing the ball?
Feel good. Just feel good to being back on the field and just keep going at it. Start now. Start from here.
It's been a long wait for you guys to get on the field, missing the first 3 games. How difficult was that for you, and what kind of release was it tonight to finally get to play?
It was a good release. All that hard work we put in, just wanted to show it off now. It's that time to show it off.
Thanks a lot, and congratulations on a great win.
All right, Mike, we appreciate it. Coach Holly talking about it. He knows he's got a tough road to hoe next week with Saraland coming in.
Yeah, you can always improve. Now you have something on film to improve, something that the guys can see. Hey, these are the mistakes that we made. These are ways that we can become better. Citronelle, no quit in them, but it's a tough 6A Region 1, Al.
All right, Corey Bounty, that's going to wrap it up for us. For Corey Bounty, Mike Herndon, China Power with the stats. Also, my man, Frank Conaway, engineering, producer Quentin Howard, and director Wade Ford. I'm Al Wheaton, thanking you for joining us for another MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Blount gets the win, 26-0.